as we assemble ourselves. How is everybody tonight?
Fine.
Hey, Paul. Hey. Oh, John, you look different. I keep telling you, John, you gotta keep on them hormones.
Boy.
Jim, can I help you with something with these files? What's that? Want me to help you with the files?
Between us, I like to be able to sit beside you. I'm gonna get as much of it as I can.
There.
But, yeah, watch the agenda. We're good. Geez, everybody's so quiet, I don't even have to say, call the meeting to order. Good evening, everybody. Let me, say we're coming to order at 6:34. And roll call, Troy, Veronica, myself, Jim, Richard, and Chris. There's people in town that get really aggravated when we use first names, so I love it. If it wasn't for salt and wounds, why would you need a guy like me? Okay. I'm gonna skip past the first couple of orders of business. Who's got 24 Cove Street?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I'm here for a continuance.
I'm aware of that. I have a letter on the file for that, to that end. And rather than have you sit here and watch us approve minutes, et cetera, anybody have an objection to giving this gentleman a continuance?
For 2 weeks to
2 weeks, and that would, do you know what date that would be?
August 28th.
Where does that put us in terms
28th.
of the decision deadline?
And you're going to extend the time for the board to make a
Yes.
decision accordingly? Okay.
He needs a decision deadline request.
I'm sorry, say it.
23?
He needs a decision deadline request.
Decision deadline request from him.
Yeah.
You got it?
No, I
You-
didn't put that on the letter.
But that's all right, yeah, but you can send it in and get it.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
And if I repeat myself, I
Or you
got
can make it
water
now.
in my ears in the shower, and it's like I'm underwater, so.
He can do it now, and we have it on record.
You got it?
No, he can,
I can just orally do it?
Do you want to put hand onto
he
this?
can just
by
verbally say it.
To agree.
Just verbally say it.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree to extend the time to,
To extend time for board decision
what date do you
26,
want?
Either the 11th or the 25th would be the next.
of what month?
September?
9/25/24.
I agree to
My
that.
initials are on it. You agree? You can
Should be
leave.
resolved by then, but anyway.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in person.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you. And who's got 3224 VBM properties?
He'll be on Zoom.
They're on Zoom? You got somebody on Zoom raising their hand? They're gonna ask me for a continuance? Can, is that the person?
That's
That would be Nazi.
That looks like Nazi.
You look different
Just-
with your
Mr.
glasses
Chair.
on.
Mr.
Najee, are you looking for the continuance?
No, Mr. Chair, through you, you just have to, for the record, say I'm on Zoom because you didn't mention my name.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I left you out.
That's okay.
I didn't even write it down. I was just trying to get the couple of people that were looking for extensions out of here. And was there somebody here that, on Zoom, that's going to do a request for a continuance for VBM? Pardon me? Still trying to get them in. Maybe they don't know that they have to unmute their microphone. A lot of people get on Zoom and they start talking and they can't shut up, but they're turned off the whole time.
Who's on a roll tonight?
Did you want to mention that Nazi's here?
We know that it's going to be a request for a continuance. Do you have any objections,
No.
Veronica,
I don't have an objection, no.
Chris,
No objections.
Richard?
No objection.
What petition number is it, Jim?
It's 3224,
32,
At Town Tavern?
Town Tavern.
No,
Town Tavern.
oh, okay.
And whoever's online from Town Tavern that is remaining silent, we're going to act without you,
Yeah.
because we know what your request is. So we're going to continue you out. And we're going to do that one. We'll just go to the next meeting for lack of a request of anything else. When is the next?
August 28th.
August 28th?
here we go with the deadline, 32.
And are we okay on time for the board decision?
Yeah.
We got room? Okay. So all in favor, say aye.
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 And myself, aye, 500. And for the record, because I didn't do it before on the Cove Street one, again, aye.
Oh, aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Richard,
Aye.
and myself. Okay, so we got those two out of the way. Now we can go back to our agenda in order.
So is Nazi going to be voting? He is online.
Nazi's online, he's going to speak when we get to him. I think, Chris, you're going to sit. Correct, Nazi? You want to let Chris be the voting person if something comes up for vote, but you're going to be able to speak if you want to.
No, I want to vote on Indian Neck.
You want to be able,
for you,
okay,
Mr.
you're
Chair.
online, you're here officially, okay. So my roll call, we have Nazi, Alkalasi on Zoom.
But Chris can vote on everything else.
I want to get everybody else on the record here as far as the roll call, Naz, and I'll be with you in a second. Okay, we have Troy Larson, Veronica Debonese, Chris Conti. Chris is here as an alternate, but if anybody recuses themselves, he will become active and will so announce. Right now, and Richard Semple. And myself, Jim Akabachi. Okay. Mr. Alkalasi is our chair. I'm the vice chair / clerk, whatever you want to call it. I'm chairing tonight because it's easier to chair in person than it is over Zoom. But Mr. Alkalasi is going to participate as a full member. Approval of minutes from 7/24/24. I have them here to be signed. I noticed, Mr. Conti, you found an error, it was corrected. Did I see that? Did you say thank you?
I have fixed it.
It's fixed. Anybody have anything else that they're, I read it, it looked fine to me.
I saw an email from Nazi. I thought he wanted those minutes a little bit clearer on the Indian Neck property.
Can you hear that, Naz?
Yes, correct, what Chris
So,
is saying.
so
I'd
do you
like
want us to approve these minutes, or you want us to table them and get a little more detail in on the Indian Neck portion of the minutes?
I'd like them more detail what happened in that meeting. It didn't state everything was on that meeting.
We're going to, thank you, we're going to put off approval of the minutes as presented until a
Next
person
hearing.
that puts them together gets a chance to add a little bit more detail in one section, and we'll vote on it at our next meeting.
I know she's on vacation, I think, until next week.
She's on vacation, well, at least she's not out to lunch, so. We're continuing the approval of the minutes. Peter Coloris, are you on presence? Who's representing Peter?
Bill Mann.
Come on forward. This is 3127 Cranberry Highway. Go ahead.
Yes, Pete has not been able to really get the project off the ground within the this past year, so he's seeking a one-year extension to the variance that was granted on September 13th.
Okay. I have personally have no objection. Is there any objection from the board to grant an extension on this? Is there anybody here that's shown up this evening because they're opposed to this extension? That said, then, all I need is a motion to extend for 1 year, a variance granted under the code of 1123 to Peter Coloris, trustee, variance for 3127 Cranberry Highway.
So,
Moved by Mrs. Debonese, seconded by
second.
Semple. All in favor? Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Nazi?
No, let Chris do this. I only want to do, Mr. Chair, Indian Neck.
Okay, okay, so Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Okay. Extension granted.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for your time. That's 1 year. You know the date? Can I say the date we're extending to for the record? Do you know it off the top of your head?
It was approved September 13th, 23, and I assume, well, what, 24? 23, yes.
September 24, 25?
Yeah.
The 24th on the 20, in the year
It was
20...
granted on September 13th, 2023. The 1 year expires September 13th, 2024. We asked for a 1 year extension to September 13th, 2025.
Perfect.
Thank you.
September 13th, 2025 it is. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And this one is done, this one is done. Continued public hearings, 3923 Wareham Cranberry Highway LLC, special permit or variance 3020 Cranberry Highway. Who's here on that matter?
We're already jumping.
You also looking for an extension? No.
No, I'm
Good.
looking for a vote.
We're actually gonna
We
do
were gonna-
business. Go ahead.
We were
What?
going to do Indian Neck first. It's fine.
I was supposed to do something in front of
Oh,
her.
that's fine. Go ahead.
That's all
It
right.
shouldn't be, yeah, it shouldn't be too long.
Go ahead. No, we're go-
Attorney Jillian Morton, I'm here for the applicant. If you recall, this is where the D'Angelo's was.
Yep.
And we're looking to do the drive-through. And where we were at last hearing is that we were waiting for the review back and kind of the engineers to get together. They have gotten together, and I know Mr. Cordero's here, so he could speak to it, but I do believe there's not any issues regarding the engineering. The other piece was the fire department, and I do see the lieutenant here as well. He was able to send a message back that there wasn't anything wrong with the site plan and that he didn't see any other things that needed to happen. So this was one that was a use variance. If you recall, that's actually what the denial letter was. And the chair, among some other members, wanted to see a site plan review. So we went through it. So now we're looking to see if there's anything else the board wants to see, or we've kind of hit the standard for
Okay.
everyone.
So, Mr. Cordero. Where are we on this thing? Are we looking good, average, bad?
They are, Mr. Chair, for the record, Phil Cordero from Allen and Major Associates. They are looking good. What Attorney Morton outlined is correct. Engineers got together. We reviewed the site plan. In terms of meeting the requirements for the site plan review, they have done that at this point. They've upgraded their plans to address some of the comments that they heard from us, as well as this board, to improve on areas of the site that weren't originally planned for in terms of parking, curbing, landscaping. So they have done that, and their plans reflect that. The only matter that I would bring to the board's attention, the original application was very light on the architectural information on the proposed building, which is a requirement of the site plan review, as well as signage.
Yep.
They provided some supplemental information. I deferred to the board as to whether you believe it's adequate enough to address what they're doing on site. So I just draw your attention to that.
And did we just get your response by email like today?
No, ours was issued a couple of weeks ago on this application.
So we're good on time. Did everybody have a chance to see this?
I'd like to see the architecturals.
you'd like to see the architecturals and they haven't come forward?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. I know with many other site plans I've done as well, usually the engineers will put something to the respect that this sign needs to meet our Stein criteria. If the sign does not, our building commissioner is able to deny that and come back. So that's happened a few times on these projects. We did provide a visual of what the tropical smoothie would look like. But as far as like the actual sign permit and everything, if it doesn't abide by the bylaw at that point, it's in denial, and then we have to come back here. So, and just about the architecture.
This is a building, an existing building.
I know,
Okay.
I know, but there was a lot of talk about, in prior meetings, that we wanted to see what that was gonna be like.
Okay, and you have or have not seen the,
I don't remember seeing it.
We do have renderings that were submitted, I believe, last hearing, and it kind of showed the colors. Do you have them right there? Okay.
I just have the one, I'm happy to give it to you, but this is what was submitted. I'll give it to you.
thank you. Sorry, Naz, about not getting you on sooner.
That's okay.
So obviously, it's a 3D elevation. It doesn't have any particulars on colors, awnings, things like that. And maybe the intent is not to have any, and I'm just drawing the board's attention
No,
to it.
we're zoning, we're not the Historical Society, and we don't choose colors, and we don't tell you what kind of uniform to wear at parochial school either. We're zoning.
You got it.
Yeah, and as far as the sign, I know Cranberry Highway, you've had issues of people not abiding by the bylaw, so, I spoke to my clients, making sure that it complies, and if it doesn't, that's something that the building commissioner can look at, so.
Okay.
And as far as if there's other architecturals, that's really what we provided, we're just doing that 10-foot
I think-
bump out.
Some of the original concerns, I believe, were, the drive-through, we've gotten over all that, we've gotten through everything, we're not worrying about them stacking up. Believe it or not, I was on that road the other day, and I saw them stacked out to get into Dunkin' Donuts. Probably 8 cars deep on Cranberry Highway, the 2 lanes was reduced to 1. But, this is a tourist area, a tourist impacted area, and that probably happens twice a year. I'm not overly alarmed about it personally. Unless I drove into the back of one of them cars, it wouldn't bother me. But anyway, any other concerns from the board? Anybody here that wanted to speak? Did we close the public
No,
portion of this?
Nazi has his hand up.
Naz, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Again, through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cordero, did I address the drainage issue? Did I address the pavement, the broken curbing, leveling the driveway? Were these issues been addressed?
Yes, Nazi. The pavement is being completely rebuilt. They were originally intending by their second response to, again, only repair part of the curbing. I connected with the engineer, and we focused on the areas of the site that really needed to be improved. The latest set of plans does depict and describe that they'll replace nearly all of the curbing on site. The pavement is repaired. We did talk about the drainage. The drainage is to be cleaned. It was inspected. It was reviewed. It's adequate. It's functional. So there are no outstanding matters relative to drainage at this point.
And how about the landscaping?
So during the first review, we had noted that there were areas that they could improve upon the landscaping. So they had revised their parking layout to increase some of the curved islands, to increase the landscaping as much as possible. They do have a pretty large decorative landscaping area directly in front of the building along Cranberry Highway. Given that it's an existing site, it's the same issue that we run into quite frequently. They don't have the required side yard depths to really increase and improve upon the landscaping, but they did do it in other ways to improve upon the site.
Okay.
I understand. Lighting issue?
They're proposing new LED lighting across the entirety of the site.
All right,
So
very
that was
well.
fine.
Thank you. Thanks.
When, we don't have the plans in front of us, so I can't really remember. I do imagine this has been addressed, but in the event that the drive-through does get backed up to the entryway, is that entryway wide enough for other cars
Yeah,
to
they can
go
get
by
around it.
and get around?
And they've got, if my memory, and if I'm wrong, somebody scream, but I think they had 13 cars worth of stacking. And if they got 13 people waiting for a smoothie, I'm happy for them. Really. you know? I mean, that's good. We want businesses to succeed, employ people, pay their taxes. Any other questions? All that said, I'm happy. Have we closed the public portion of this? We have not. Anybody from the audience, anybody on Zoom or in the room this evening that has any comments? Okay. Then I'd entertain a motion to close the public portion of this hearing.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Simple. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Debonese. All in favor? Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, aye. The public portion of this hearing is closed. Any comments from the board? Any more questions? Any? Okay, then I'd be looking for a motion to grant. Or I'd be
Mr.
looking for
Chair,
a motion.
Mr.
Doesn't have
Chair,
to be a
through you.
grant. Could be a denial motion. I don't-
Nazi's got a comment.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Naz.
Chair, through you, can you state on the decision, the variances they're asking, as well as the site plan review? What's the variances they're asking? Drive-through, what else?
I think it's a use, it wasn't a
It's
use,
just, the denial letter was just a use variance,
the
but we're happy.
only thing
Okay.
we're voting on, Naz, is the use.
Well, and you made it site plan review, so that
So we
probably
made it,
should
and the
be,
site plan has been approved.
yeah.
Okay, very good.
Special
Very good.
Okay.
permit site plan review, Yeah.
Does the drive-through need a special permit?
variance.
The
The
drive-through
variance.
did,
Variance.
and we voted on that separately. Okay, I'm still looking for a motion.
So the only thing that we're voting on right now is
The
the
use.
site plan.
Can they make smoothies there?
Oh.
Does the
use.
zoning allow them to make smoothies at that address?
So we've approved the site plan already in the.
Yes. We can, you can say I approve of the making of smoothies, and I approve of the site plan, and you can make any motion you
All
want.
right, so I'll make a motion to approve the use variance as presented and reviewed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, aye. After only about 12 meetings, you're good.
Thank you.
You can, thank you. 500. Okay, next up, I hope somebody's on deck. I haven't seen anybody swinging a bat, but 3624 Indian Neck Property LLC, looking for a variance and a special permit, 50 Indian Neck Road. I think I see familiar faces coming in out of the back door.
Good evening. I apologize for being late. Traffic was bad, and there was, to top it off, there was...
Sir, you're not late, you're here right on time. We hadn't called you yet. As a matter of fact, somebody asked for you to be earlier, and I didn't see you, so I put one up.
Great.
We're good. So, on the previous one, I didn't have the attorney state her name for the record, but I think it got said and used. So going over to this one, who's representing Indian Neck Property? Who's the speaker here?
I'm going to introduce folks. Mark Bobrowski, my office is in Concord, Massachusetts, in Damon Mills Square. I've asked GAF to go first to give you an update. I know you got a peer review back from A&M, so can we cover that first?
We can.
Mr. Chair,
Do you want, hang on a minute, and come on up and get comfortable. I think Mr. Alcalazzi wanted to make a statement before we did much. Go ahead.
yeah, Mr. Chair, if you, through you, the people who's gonna testify, not the public, I'd like them to stand up, take an oath, please, except, of course, Attorney Bobrowski, but Mr. Madden, the owner, and the operator, they need to take an oath. If they don't mind standing up, raise their right hand.
He's asking for Jack and,
Whoever gonna speak in this matter, except Attorney
are you gonna speak?
Bobrowski.
possibly?
Possibly.
Okay. Anybody that's going to speak for the, on behalf of the application, except for the attorney, Mr. Alcalasi is asking you to stand up, raise your right hand, and swear you'll tell the truth. You don't have to cuss, just swear.
Okay, please raise your right hand. You swear that said, tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay,
Thank you.
let the record show they said they do.
I think,
All right, please proceed through you, Mr. Chair.
to explain to anybody that's looking and saying, what the hell was that all about? Because I see a bunch of people giving me the googly eyes. There's a possibility this decision could end up in a court, and sometimes the courts will use that as a technicality. So now we've taken that away from the judge. Anyway, go ahead, Attorney Brabowski.
So I had suggested, Mr. Chairman, that the GIF make its presentation on the peer review.
You're good. Go ahead, Mr. Madden. You have a microphone. Take it from, there you go.
Would you like some half-size plans?
I would. We have them in the box?
I can just give them to you now. I have.
Yeah, they're the same thing that's in the box, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just want that on the record because
Thank you.
anything that's new the night, automatically disqualifies a vote, but I don't think we're going to get to a vote this evening anyway.
You have a copy of the letter also that we, on the review. I have copies of that as well, if you don't happen to have them. All right, so we'll give them.
Peter Coloris is done too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is going to get extended.
I'm good, I got it.
Okay, I'm Bill Madden from GAF Engineering here on behalf of Indian Neck Properties. We prepared the site plans and did the civil engineering on the project. Allen and Major provided us with a peer review back in the end of July 30th that we referred to, and we have addressed the concerns that they brought up, and I'll go through them right now. The first item that they brought up was the plans that were submitted didn't have the registered landscape architect stamp on it, and we prefer to have those stamped at the final submission with the Mylars, and that's what we will have them stamped by our landscape architect. Similarly, comment number 2 on the site plan indicated that it wasn't stamped by the registered land surveyor, and in a similar fashion to the landscape architect, we prefer to stamp those on the final submission as opposed to each individual submission. There's an illicit discharge statement that needed to be included in the stormwater report. The operator needs to sign that, and we have that and have sent that to Allen and Major. The emergency access apparatus plan, that's another one that's basically stating that, I guess there's nothing in the file that indicates that the fire department has reviewed the circulation. I met with Captain Smith myself to go over that circulation, and that's how we developed the plan that's in front of you with that little hammerhead turnaround off the main drive to the parking lot.
So based on that meeting, you're confident you'll be able to supply, or the fire department will be able to satisfy?
Yes.
We'll make them write a letter and sign it, and you'll stick it in the file.
Yeah, that's fine, that'll work.
Okay. I think I saw either a bobblehead or a nod, so.
No, that was a yes, we'll do that.
Okay.
Item number 5 was the circulation plan indicates, different traffic being directed in different areas. And the comment was that other directional signage should be placed on the site to direct people who visit the site, who work at the site, or whatever, to the proper location for parking, handicap access, things of that nature. And I don't think that those directional signs, we didn't show them on the plan. We think that what'll happen is the operator will see how things function, will place those signs in an as-needed basis on the site. To me, I didn't,
Are we talking within the site, or are you
within
talking
the site,
them from the street to the site?
no,
Within the site?
within the site circulation signage, like
And
maybe,
sorry to interrupt you, but my memory is that this is practically going to be a gated facility. It's going to have fence all the way around it and everything, so once they're inside the site, it doesn't really have any major impact on the public. It's what's going on.
no, and I think the point might have been that the sign bylaw really refers to facility signs, placement of the facility signs, and doesn't speak directly to signs for convenience within a developed site.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, they plan on.
I got you.
Plan on doing that as well. The catch basins, there was a site inspection that was conducted on the site, and all of the catch basins that were previously constructed in that project area, including those on Forest Way, were constructed to the standards that existed at the time. And one thing that they did not have was hoods on the catch basin inside. So we're going to add those to each one of the catch basins. They will all be inspected. There's a series of leaching basins that are connected to those catch basins as well. So the entire drainage system will be inspected, any repairs made on it as part of the work. But it seems to function fine now as far as from the engineering point of view. I know that on site, some of the catch basins did have a lot of debris that was collected around the grate itself. And
The place has been vacant for a period of time. Things have accumulated.
well, and also Forest Way is another example of an occupied space that those catch basins there had debris and pine needles and things of that nature that get stuck on top of that. So I don't know who the responsible party is to do that. It's not a public way, so I don't think it's the town's responsibility to clean that. But in any event, we'll clean all that up and ensure that the drainage system functions as it's intended to function. Similarly, on the pavement, Allen and Major made a site inspection. They noticed the condition of the pavement. The condition of the pavement has seen better days in many areas, and we've made recommendations to the applicant that should be upgraded, repaired, replaced as part of the project. So, we're just in the process of
That's
determining how.
ongoing.
What's that?
That item is kind of ongoing.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And let's see. Same thing, I mean, they made a comment with the drive aisles and drainage and things of that nature. Wheel stops, another comment was wheel stops on the existing parking have been dislodged and they're not secure in their current place. So anyone that we've added notations to the plan that anyone that are dislodged and require new anchoring, it's a rebar driven through the holes in the top of the wheel stops. We will do that. I mean, we'll do that in a similar fashion that what'll take place with the new parking as well. Then there was a comment that I didn't observe this myself in the field, but I guess there's some debris on the town-owned land. I don't know where it came from or how it got there, but they'd like to have it removed. Allen Major suggested we have it removed from the site. And I think the applicant is willing to clean that up as part of the operations they'll be involved with the construction on the site.
So when you say the town-owned land, is that the narrow strip between,
The narrow strip, yes.
what
Yeah.
is that? Dr. something Road, what's the main road? What's the road off Minot Avenue there? Stillman or?
That's down further. This is just.
No, but it's between that and the property.
It's a Great Neck Road,
Great Neck?
Yeah.
That's Great Neck right there?
I think.
I believe it's Indian
I
Neck.
thought-
It's Indian.
Indian Neck. Great Neck goes from down there by the
Yeah,
bank.
it's more rural than.
Goes all the way.
Yeah,
This is Indian Neck Road.
yeah. But it's that band of land, but I guess it's
Indian
Minot
Neck and the
Forest.
property,
It's
yeah.
Minot Forest land.
Is it part of the Minot Forest? Is
I
that
think it is,
strip
yeah.
Okay.
So I think that there would not be a problem for us to clean that up. It's not a tremendous amount, as I understand it.
So the applicant's willing, it's just a matter of whether the town's willing to let you.
I think, yes, exactly.
Okay. 'Cause
And that's pretty much what we have on the revisions to the site plan. Other than that, there have been no other changes made. Should there be a need to modify the plans, we're happy to do that as well.
And there was a big, oh, that's got nothing to do with you, never mind, sorry. I'm mixing a letter from a neighbor and you, and
Okay.
never the twain shall meet. Okay, any questions? Okay. Mr. Okolasi?
Yeah, hi. Very well, good job. Thank you, Mr. Madden, for this. Through you, Mr. Chair, we need to go back to the main issue, which is the use variance. I'd like to ask Attorney Bobrowski, on the previous on the previous hearing, he had stated that he does agree that this is a detox center and they do medical procedure, correct, Mr. Council Bobrowski?
Was his
It
question-
is a medical facility, correct?
The building commissioner, in his denial letter, stated that it was a medically related facility. He chose that category in the use table. We're not quarreling with that. If that's his choice, then that's fine with us. I'm not going to appeal that. It's a waste of time. So what we're asking under the guise of the medically related facility is a use variance for what we've described in our materials as a behavioral facility. Also, you can call it a detox facility as well. And that is protected.
Correct, I understand, but you stated you guys do medical procedures that use IV, you do shots, you do
No,
patches.
that's why I don't agree with the building commissioner. The medically related facility is in the same group as a hospital in your use table. We're not a hospital either. And I put that in
Okay.
my cover letter. We don't think we're either of those, but it's not worth arguing about because we want to build what we want to build and operate what we want to operate under federal disability and state disability laws. So we're asking for a use
I
variance.
understand, Counselor, but we have to agree. You agreed last time that you are treating this facility as medical facilities. That's what you stated.
No, I stated that I agreed only for the purposes of going forward, not to appeal the building commissioner's decision. That was his decision.
Does mean you agree with the commissioner?
Yeah, whatever it takes to move the ball forward. If we need to technically say we agree with him, yes, but what I want instead is a use variance to operate a detox facility.
Okay, and you agree it's a medical facility? So to go forward, right? You just said you agree to it to go forward.
Only to go forward.
All right, very well. Let me ask you a question. If a blind person, you agree a blind person and a crippled person is disabled, correct?
Yes.
If they go to be treated at a hospital, correct?
I don't know what their ailment is, but it is possible.
Let's say they need a surgery or treatment, they have to go to a hospital, right? To a medical facility.
They could have it done in a day clinic, too.
Okay, that's a medical facility. Does that give the right to a medical facility like a clinic or a hospital? Does that give the hospital, because they treat a handicapped person, as you claim, a drug addict or a alcohol abusive is a handicap, does that give the hospital to go anywhere in the town while the zoning does not allow it?
I don't understand your question.
Okay, in other words, if we are to build a hospital right now where we are does our zoning allow that?
Our zoning requires institutional zoning for a hospital.
Correct. So the R43 does not allow a hospital. So what I'm trying to say, if the hospital treats a handicapped people, but they're not allowed to be in that zone, why would I understand it's a disability, the alcohol and drug abuse, why would the facility would be allowed in that case, on that zone?
Well, federal disability law says that if you have a person who is covered as disabled or handicapped, you have to make, upon our request, a reasonable accommodation in order to allow the facility to operate. And that's
Okay.
regardless of what district it's in.
All right, very well. And you did cite Oxford versus Babylon on that matter, correct? You cited a case.
Yes.
Oxford, okay. All right, I went through that case, Counselor, and let me read this back quick. On the background on Oxford House was founded in 1975 by a group of men who were recovering from drug and alcohol addiction. Today, there's 375 individual Oxford houses which are operated on the same premises as the original. 3 basic rules, guidelines, function of the Oxford House. They must democratically self-governed, they must financially self-supporting, and any person using drugs or alcohol must be immediately expelled. There are no health care professional on the premises. And an individual can stay as long as they wishes, as long as they remain drug and alcohol free. And it goes on and on and on. And this is a case you cited to me. You cited that case last time, the Oxford versus Babylon, as well as East Framingdale Oxford House. Also, if you go in that case that you cited, it calls under the FHA, a lawful or to discriminate in the sale or the rental, to otherwise make unavailable, to deny a dwelling to any buyer or renter because handicapped, and it goes on and on. So, which is you cannot deny. So, but what we looking at, if you keep going on that case over and over and over, it seems to me the Oxford House is a boarding house, halfway house, which under federal laws, which is true, they could be anywhere they can, but there's no medical staff, and which we call nowadays, they say the halfway house, and it's about 12 to 15 people. I think the federal government limits it to 15 people. And these are people recovering, they're allowed to live among any neighborhood they want. So the people, the federal government does not discriminate against the people. Now, you bring in the facility. We're not discriminating against the people, we're discriminating against the facility. We believe that facility is not like Oxford House. So it's you comparing apple to oranges. So for that reason, I don't think you have a case with the federal government based on what you provided me with the Oxford House versus Babylon. That's completely different law, case law. That's what you guys proposing.
Well, Oxford House is one of the earliest cases under federal disability law, as you pointed out. I don't cite it for the entire proposition of our application. It covers one or maybe 2 minor points in our application. If the chairman is interested, I will give you 2 cases, one from Boston, Granada House versus City of Boston, which is right on point, and the other one is 901 Ernston Road. It's a New Jersey case in which a detox facility is proposed. It's not allowed in the district, and the court orders a reasonable accommodation to issue. So I will send those cases, I already have sent those cases, to Attorney Bowen, and I will send them directly to you tomorrow.
Okay, very well, because I'm based my decision based what you sent us last time. So I would really like to see these cases and look at them
I don't have a
and
problem
see, because
sending
this is
those
it's
two
useless.
cases.
I mean, I'd love to go to court with you with the Oxford House. So that's where we are. So right now, based on that case, I don't think I could give you my vote for the use variance.
I think you better discuss it with counsel, Mr. Chairman, because it's a very complicated field. There are many cases that cover the subject, and you can't just cherry pick one and say it's not like that case.
Counselor, I'm answering the one you cited last time. I'm not picking and
As I
choosing.
said,
You cited this one.
I don't cite it for the entire proposition. It might cover one point. I don't have my memo in front of me, so it's hard for me to address that.
Well, if I'm right in the middle of the meeting, I can't talk now.
Okay, so right now, there's no sense discussing until I see the other cases. But right now, I think the whole board should concentrate on the use variance before we go about the site plan review, because I don't think we should be granting that use variance. I'm still not convinced.
I appreciate that you're still not convinced.
It's
I'm
federally
giving you
protected.
the opportunity to show you two cases that will convince you, which I will do.
Okay,
when I
very
walk in
well.
the door.
I'll look at them. I'm open-minded. I'll look at them for next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and your hand is still up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Just
All right,
in
sorry.
case you want to talk again, so we don't get confused. Because I got gum, and to chew gum and watch the screen and chair, I'd be confused. Okay.
Maybe it would be useful, Mr. Chairman, if we go through the letter/responses that we gave to Attorney Morton's July 16th letter.
We could
Updated.
broach that next. We could broach that next if you'd like.
First, I want to thank Attorney Morton for making herself available so quickly to go through the concerns that she expressed on behalf of her clients. And I think what you see in this response letter is that we've pretty much been able to address all of the concerns that the neighbors had. So this must be in your package as well?
I don't have mine in front of me. I'm sure it's here. Does anybody need a copy? Okay, I've read it. I'm pretty familiar with it. In brief, I can see that the applicant is trying my take on this was that Attorney Morton didn't represent, I think it's 8 neighbors, 6 or 8 neighbors. I don't think I can, but
Five
I
houses.
think there's some around the corner on
I'll let her speak
there may
for
be as
herself.
many as 8, but I know 5 is obvious. But be it 5 or 8, or any other number. I interpreted, and again, I'm willing to be corrected if I'm wrong, I interpreted that Attorney Martin didn't come forward objecting to the use. She came forward with concerns about how the use would be conducted. And that's what this letter was, and they had several recommendations, or no, requests. They weren't they were. And you have responded to all of them. And the responses indicate, and anybody watching this on Zoom or in the room doesn't have access to your responses, but so for everybody's edification, the responses indicate a willingness on the applicant's part to cooperate with the neighbors and to be a good neighbor. That's what I saw. In reading that, I think that the neighbors asked that you rip out the sidewalk on the facility side of the street. And being that it's been determined that it's not a town-approved way or a town-taken way, I guess you wouldn't need permission from the town to do that. And as an applicant, you've agreed to do that. I'm not sure, as an individual, I think it's necessary, but frankly, having seen the plans and seeing a 6 to 9 foot fence along the front of the property, I think I'd rather see the sidewalk remain. That's me personally. I'm assuming there'd be the sidewalk, there'd be a green area with some vegetation or some plantings, and then there'd be the fence. If the fence is gonna be right up against the property line, I might have a different opinion. I just don't feel as though that sidewalk is any kind of an attractive nuisance. I personally don't perceive some drug addict walking up and down the sidewalk in front of the facility. If he's in the facility for treatment, he's in the facility. I shouldn't say he or she. So I just don't, that's my own personal take on the sidewalk bit. Did you want to go through the letter item by item, or?
Why don't I just go through it quickly, indicating the topics that we've covered?
Sure.
As you
Sure, I
said,
just wanted to get my piece out of the way so you could have free reign. Go ahead.
The neighbors requested that if the decision is approved, specific language be prohibited, be in place prohibiting day programs, and we've agreed to that condition if the board is inclined to grant it. And we point out that if we propose at some future date to add a day program, we'd have to come back and modify the variance that you would have awarded already. So that should hopefully satisfy the neighbors. Their second request was they wonder whether or not there is some sort of town service demand that they don't know about. And I said to them in my response that we have included in our package that we gave you last week a letter from the chief, from the chairman of the Board of Selectmen of Falmouth, and I can give a copy of that to Sonia. It's from Nancy Robbins Taylor, dated 11/21/23. It's an enthusiastic letter that supports Gosnold's activities in Falmouth. I'm sure she wouldn't have written it if she thought they were being too demanding on town services. So I think that should put the fear to bed, and I only have one copy.
Sure.
The third point was the,
On the town services, let's stop there for a minute, if you don't mind.
sure.
So, there's the official information that goes on in this room, and then there's the information that goes on at the water bubbler. And the water bubbler says that there were 395 calls to Gosnold in the most recent year. And that's a little bit more than one per day. But on that vein, I wonder if the Gosnold that we're referring to, that reportedly, again by the water bubbler, because I don't have anything in writing in front of me saying this, 395. I'm wondering if the Gosnold that is being cited has inpatient and outpatient services. Does anybody,
It does,
it has both?
correct. The Gosnell site in Falmouth has both inpatient and
It has
outpatient.
both inpatient and outpatient, okay. So, would you just say your name again for the record?
Richard Kukuru.
Richard, just so that they know who's responding.
Sure.
So, again, I'm working on water bubbler data here. I think at some point there's going to be something in writing. I know there's been a lot of writing on Facebook, and that's always very reliable.
I agree.
And I think the Ukraine war could be solved on Facebook. But anyway, if there were indeed 395 logged items to the Falmouth location, and there is indeed outpatient services, could you somehow quantify how much of that was related to inpatient and outpatient? The fact,
I'm gonna assume that the majority of that is for our inpatient services, not our outpatient services.
The majority would be,
Or inpatient services, not for outpatient
so you
services.
don't think the outpatients created those
I don't.
calls? It wasn't somebody coming there as an outpatient?
I would say the percentage of them would be inpatient. I would say inpatient. There is a percentage of patients who come outpatient who may, during the session that they're meeting with their therapist, may express some ideation or suicidal ideation that we need to take action to. So yes, there is that occasion, but the majority of those are inpatient calls.
So help us be at ease about those inpatient calls. Are they, is it the ambulance? Is it the police? Is it
It's
the fire?
predominantly the ambulance.
The ambulance.
I would say that some of those calls are the police, but it's usually EMS responding to a medical issue that's taken place during the course of their detox.
Then, okay. Okay, so somebody's there, they're under your care, they have a medical problem, and they need to be transported to the hospital.
That's correct.
And so it would not be unreasonable for the town of Wareham, based on water bubbler information, to think that we might have our ambulance go there maybe once a day.
That's a
fair.
fair
It's a
fair
fair-
assumption, correct.
Okay. I just, thank you, Phil. I mean, I just, water bubbler information can be good and it can be very damaging, so I like to just get it out. Go ahead, go forward.
Thank you. So the third request that they have was cameras, security cameras, and we've agreed that there will be 24-hour security on site. There will be cameras installed with playback ability, providing detailed views of all exterior parking and access areas. The police chief will be given a plan showing the locations of the cameras and the specifications of the equipment. With regard to other than camera security, the security staff will have special training on security protocols, including de-escalation tactics. There is a written security plan that was attached to my transmittal of the letter prepared by Mr. Kukuru, which is entitled Proposal for Security Management at the Proposed Wareham Location. And he goes into a bit more detail in terms of the features that the security plan will have. And if he wants to address it, now's his chance to do so.
Do you care to? No, okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, just to go back, I'm sorry, I wasn't quite following. Was that an ambulance was to go there one time a day? Because I come up with 210 days so far this year and 390, that's 2 times a day.
2 times 365 is what?
No, I just said that we have 210 days gone already this year.
Yeah,
And you said there was 390 visits.
for the
So
last
far this-
365 days.
Yeah. No, just for this year. You had 24 was what I thought we were talking about.
I was talking about water bubbler data for 12 months period of time.
Okay, so, but I'm just stating from what I've heard,
You're talking about 8 months period of time.
I'm talking about, yeah, so the amount of days that have gone by is 210. There was a number thrown out there, 390 visits so
Mr.
far.
Chair, if I may, I don't think it's so much water bubbler data as, we received an email from the chief of the Falmouth Fire and Rescue. It was 395 medical incidents between August 2023 and August 2024.
Oh, so in 1 year. All right, thank you.
And again, that's EMS, as we discussed.
Yeah, and so, it's, let's just get it out there that, yeah, our town ambulance is gonna go there. That's all. And do you guys, while we're on that subject, do you guys have any kind of equipment to transport people, or that's it? I know at one point you said if somebody wanted to leave, you'd give them a ride. I didn't know.
Yeah, but not for
That's a
medical
different-
emergencies.
that's a
Yeah, not for
different-
medical issues. Correct. We do transport people.
You give them a broom and say, go ahead, witch, get out of here.
No. I mean, if it's not a medical issue, we do transport people off-site.
Okay,
Yeah,
All right.
correct.
all right. Mr. Attorney Buklowski, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was another concern expressed with regard to car traffic and delivery services on Forest Way. The request was to put signage on Forest Way, residents only, not a throughway. We will give the board a separate sheet with those signs that are suggested so that the neighbors can actually identify the locations that they have asked for, and then we will agree to a condition setting hours for deliveries and the types of vehicles that will be involved in deliveries. We're not going to bring 18-wheelers on the property, and we will accept limitations as to the type of vehicle and the time of day that those vehicles.
So you're willing to restrict I mean, Cisco would be bringing food for that facility. They come in an 18-wheeler. You would say they're not an allowed vendor, or they need to get a different
If
vehicle?
Cisco's bringing an 18-wheeler, it would be at a specific time, and it wouldn't be a surprise to anybody, and that would be it.
Okay, so you're not restricting them, you're just saying you'd control them?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The sidewalk was a request. You've already covered that. We're still unsure what to do, but we await other people's opinions as to whether we should take it out and landscape it or whether we should keep it in. The smoking areas were a concern, and there will be no outdoor smoking by the patients because it's a building with 2 courtyards, so that'd be interior. And there will also be a designated smoking area for the staff in the rear of the building away from forest, so the neighbors shouldn't be bothered by anybody's smoke. There was a request to identify ownership of Forest Way. All I know from so far is that the town has firmly said it's not public. So if it's not public, it has to be private. I'm going to look at the deeds for all of the homes on Forest Way and the facility owned by Mr. Hines as manager, and determine whether or not the grantor of those deeds reserved his ownership interest in the way. I'd be shocked if he did. If he did not, then the way is owned by the various landowners along the way to the center line of the way. And that's under Massachusetts law called the derelict fee statute. Ownership is what is governed by the derelict fee statute, but various cases have added rights associated with that ownership that aren't mentioned in the statute. So, for example, every owner has the right to use the way from soup to nuts. Every owner has the right to put utilities into the way if they think it's important for their property. Also to improve the way, even if other people along the way don't want them to do it. So with those rights in mind, what we've proposed is that there will be a maintenance agreement with the neighbors, that the Gosnold operator, as long as Gosnold is a tenant, will plow the road from beginning to end. That Mr. Hines, as the manager of the LLC, will do an overlay after the construction phase is over so that the way has a brand-new smooth surface. I don't think that's been done since it was originally installed back in the early 90s. And that after Gosnold departs, if ever, and after Mr. Hines does the original overlay, there'll be a 50-50 maintenance agreement between the operator of the facility and the neighbors themselves. And I'll take it upon myself with Attorney Morton to draft up the paperwork for that. If the board wants to put that in as a condition, I don't have a problem with that, but it really is a private arrangement between private landowners under the derelict fee statute.
Going to interrupt you again. Attorney Morton, if you don't need to come forward, but do you know if the town currently is plowing that road for snow?
Do you want me to come forward now?
Just, if you know or don't know, that's all.
One of the residences right now.
One of the residents is taking care of it? Thank you. That's all so it's not being, because I was under the impression that the town of Wareham plows all ways, public and private, but apparently not that one.
There is a statute or two. One is that town meeting has to vote to maintain a private way, and two, a town meeting has to vote to plow a public way. So if you've done that, then somebody's getting a...
Apparently it hasn't happened, and somebody's doing it on a private, so that's why, I just wanted to know if the neighbors were getting anything here. They're getting their road plowed by the tenant.
Yes, and they're getting a brand-new surface to the road by Mr. Hines.
Is that gonna be like a mill it and pave it, or just pave over, or do you know?
Well, mill it and pave it.
Mill it and pave it. Thank you, Mr. Hines. Okay, go ahead.
There was a concern expressed about landscaping. They haven't seen a plan yet. We'll give them an improved landscaping plan that...
Before this is over.
Well, we want to hear more about what they want so that we can perfect it. Go ahead, Jack.
If I may, we've met with the neighbors several times, and, we've been having meetings since back in January. and it's important to the neighbors what it looks like on the outside. And so if you look at our response, it says that we will have a fence that's either 6 or 8 feet high, and it's at their choice. And we want to have the ability to have that fence kind of wind, because in areas where we can have bigger planting beds in front of it, we're going to do that. There's some areas, because of the drainage, or, you know, the width of the road we're at, and where it can't be set back too far. But we're giving the neighbors input. On the landscaping plan that's in your packet, it does list a bunch of, you know, the plantings that are going to be there. The neighbors have agreed to those, other than that they don't want the Leland cypress. Everything else on our landscaping plan is agreeable to them.
And I think I read that you guys agreed you won't plant any.
Correct, yeah.
Leland cypress.
Yeah, we want to have them have input on it. They're going to be facing it every day.
Yeah.
So we want to have it, make sure it's something they
I
want.
wish I could give everybody input on what I look like, because you all have to look at me every day, but I am what I am. So, the fence, while you're on that, while you're at the mic, originally, it was gonna be a 3-foot masonry or stone wall with a 6-foot fence on top of it. I'm now hearing that the stone or masonry portion of that is going away, and it's just gonna be a straight fence, is that correct?
It's going to be a straight fence, either 6 or 8 feet high, at the neighbor's choice, and then there'll be the plantings in front of it.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that was...
Wait a minute, go ahead.
Is the rest of the property going to be fenced, or just that one part?
No, we're
Like
gonna-
towards the forest, or are you going to fence in that area?
We're
too?
going to fence it. We will not do the circumference of the property, but all of the areas, so all of the parking areas. So there'll be a fence around the whole building and the parking areas.
Okay, thank you.
We skipped one, which was lighting, and the ask was for a photometric plan, and I believe we've already done the photometric plan.
It's in the process.
In the process, so we will provide a photometric plan. And the photometric plan will be designed to show that there's no overspiller glare. So we're going to be using cutoff luminaires, and it's the usual stuff you see in these projects all the time. The board wanted, the neighbors wanted a restriction for the non-developed land toward the forest, so that there's a buffer. And the landowner has responded that there are no plans to expand the facility, which would, again, take ZBA approval for both the site plan and the use variance. The plan is a condition. That's the way these things work. So if we're going to change the plan, we have to change the approval, and we have to come back public hearing all over again. There are no plans to do that as we sit here tonight. And lastly, there's been a question about utility poles and power line ownership. Turns out we likely own some of the poles, and we're willing to maintain those poles, but we don't own the other poles.
So you own some of them, and some of them you don't?
That's what Mr. Hines' research
That's
has
what you
proven.
found?
Yeah. We're continuing to research that, but from what we've been able to ascertain, we own some of them that were put in when the nursing home was originally put in. There's others that were added later that we don't own.
And these are on the street you're talking about?
Correct.
And you're,
Actually, a couple coming through an easement as well.
this couple coming through an easement as well, from Indian Neck through the woods, or through an easement over what?
From, there's an easement through where the storage goes through. It's between a couple of the neighboring houses across the street.
Oh, coming in from like Minot?
From Minot, yeah.
Okay, so it's coming in between two of the houses across the street from the facility, and it's an easement through a couple of the neighbors, so it's right on their property line. Okay, I get it, okay.
There are some things that we are also willing to do and hope to do that don't really involve the neighbors, but we thought we'd just bring you up to speed. To the extent there are programs between Gosnell and the police department that can facilitate community awareness, educate people as to the hazards, that's something that they do as a matter of course. We would be happy to accept that as a condition. There's also a proposal that I haven't yet spoken with in detail with Attorney Morton about, which is a proposal to make an offer to buy back anyone's house on Forest Way that within 3 years is unhappy, and I'm going to prepare offers to purchase that would, the usual approach, appraiser, average. If there's still disagreement, there's a third appraiser chosen by the parties. That would become sort of an arbitration result. And I'm hoping that to get at least a template of that. I think I'm preparing 5, but 1 will do. It's the same terms and conditions by Monday to Attorney Morton.
Okay. And that sort of completes your response to Attorney Morton's requests?
Yes.
Okay. So she's in the room. Let's ask her if she'd like to come up and speak at this point regarding that. We'll just keep on topic, right?
Sure. All right, so Attorney Morton here, representing the Forest Way abutters. Yep, Mark and I have been going through the letter, and I appreciate him being able to go through that. If you read it, there's sort of like a response to what we're asking. Some things aren't solidified, that kind of thing. But one of the pieces that's kind of, I'm in a hard position now is in regards to the town services. So EMS, the police, I know Chief Greer is here, so I'm not going to go into that, but, you know, we're in a position hearing that, some of that information now, so we're going to have to look into that. You know, each day having an ambulance, that wasn't something that necessarily we knew about, so it kind of caught us guard there. And I do think it would be very fruitful for a site walk on this one because of that land and how it abuts Minot Forest. If you've gone and hiked over there versus where their development stops, it's like kind of like, where do you know where the forest starts and where their property? And so I think we do want to have that if this does come to fruition, a
The
fence.
site walk by whom?
A site walk by the board. You know, sometimes you guys do that. You saw like at the actual site, but in the forest part, or at least walk down Minot Forest. I don't know if anyone's done that, but yeah, I don't want to necessarily go through all those items because it's obviously a working thing right now. But the town services is something that I think, you know, that's what
You
in
wanna
my
hear more
initials,
about it.
I had asked, you know, did they talk to chief? Did they? So that's something we can't really, you know, make a decision about.
You're not agreeing or disagreeing, you're just saying you want, now
I need more
now you heard it,
information.
you want
There
to
needs to be
go
more information.
see if you
so.
can wind everybody up on that subject.
No, no, I just, but yeah, so we went through and they've done a
Okay.
good job on a lot of those items that we had concerns about.
You could
So,
be
but
winding them down, too.
I'm not winding them down. I just think everyone should have all the information.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's where I'm at. And if there's any questions on my letter, I'm happy to answer. And there might be another follow-up once we get more information. So,
Okay.
okay.
So, thank you for
Yep.
coming up. So, I think we're somewhat on the same page here, but I heard that, I'm listening, we have the police and fire chief here, apparently that's why they're here, so, police and fire chiefs. Would either one of you like to come forward at this point and discuss this, chief? Hiding way there in the back, all those heads in the way. I was looking, searching, trying to find you. Yeah, good.
Good evening.
Thank you. And just again, you know, even though everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, no problem. Walter W. Correa Jr., Chief of Police, Wareham.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, it's been asked and somewhat answered, and I guess it's been requested of you to look into this matter. What have you found, if anything?
So, in advance, I wanted to check out, approximately, when I first heard about this project, probably about, what was it, 8 months ago or so, around that time, we reached out, the Wareham Police Department, reached out to the Falmouth Police Department, of course, to find out what we might be looking at in terms of a location here in town. We got some data at that time. In advance of this meeting, I reached out to Falmouth PD again a few days ago, and I just wanted a 3-year look at the calls for service that the police department responded to. And the calls varied from, you know...
I saw it.
Yeah, okay. And I wanted to take a look at just this year. so far. And right now, it looks like the Falmouth Police Department has responded a little over 100 times up until this point, right now, to the location.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Okay, so that's the PD.
That's the PD.
That's the, so that's not the EMS?
It's not EMS, but sometimes our police logs do include
Okay.
fire response, but
Okay.
that's
So-
correct, it's police log.
So I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. How many days did you say we're into the year?
210, roughly.
10, and you got, what was the number you got?
A little over 100 calls to the location.
We can't cut the ambulance in half, so it can't be a half an ambulance a day. It must, or a half a cop a day, so it's got to be a cop every other day.
Well, I'm willing to bet that all of the calls that there was reported,
Yeah?
that the police department, it doesn't necessarily mean that the police
don't-
department
You don't go, yeah.
to go to everything.
You're not ambulance chasers?
We don't have time to chase ambulances.
Okay. Thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to offer?
No, I want to say right out, the other reason that I wanted to be here tonight, because I am concerned. I'm concerned that this is another project that's coming into town that's going to certainly have impact on an already busy town in terms of public safety. However, the community servant in me is glad that a program like this, where they're going to help people that are fighting addiction, whatever, I can get behind that, as opposed to another liquor location or another bar or anything like that, which I think I would have a bigger problem with. But we got to understand, this project coming into this town is going to bring problems with it. And I'm not here to tell you that I don't think it's worth it, because there's part of me that does think it's worth it, and there are people that need services and need places to go, so I get that. But we got to understand it's going to bring along certain issues and problems that we're going to have to deal with. And from the public safety standpoint, any more calls for service that we have in this community is going to, we're reactive only. The Wareham Police Department, public safety in general, is reactive only. This is a busy community, and we have over 30,000 calls for service in the town of Wareham consistently for the last 10, 15 years. And that's not going down.
Not going down.
It's going up. Looking at the new places, the Red Brook Road location over there is only bringing in more calls for service. And right now, from the standpoint of the police department, I have 44 officers. I need 54 to make a dent in public safety from the police perspective in this town. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that I don't believe that we need this location or this location should come here. I'm not saying that, because I do. But it's going to come with issues.
You're saying your eyes are wide open?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And anybody on the board, any questions for the chief while he's up here? No? Did the fire chief want to come up and have any comments, or is there any? Thank you, chief.
Okay. You're very welcome.
Fire chief here, or anybody here from the fire department that wants to speak about that? Anybody here from EMS? Okay. Might be nice to hear from EMS at some point along the way. But that said, do you have anything else you'd like to offer?
No, thanks, Mr. Chairman. That's our presentation this evening.
Any questions from the board at this time? It might be, all right.
Something that's, for some reason, I don't know why I kept picking it up. Mr. Bobrowski kept saying, as long as Gosnold owns it. What kind of a plan do you have? How long do you intend to have this building? I mean, what would be the reason why you wouldn't be here anymore?
There wouldn't be a reason. I think we're talking about a 15-year lease, 20-year lease. So there's no reason why we wouldn't be here.
So,
You know, I think I brought that up to Mr. Bobrowski because once the condition is in there, 20 years from now, they could leave, the building could get knocked down and become single-family houses. You know, who knows what's going to happen to a property somewhere in the future.
but I mean, it's being built up like a high-security area with the fence and everything. I mean, there's not much that goes back in there without, I mean, you're spending a lot of money trying to make it a secure area.
Right.
And I'm just concerned, I just don't want to see 5 years down the road and all of a sudden you guys just, for some reason, some executive reason or something says that we can't be here anymore and you guys pack your bags up and leave. So I'm just nervous about, keep hearing as long as Gosnell owns it. It was just,
I think,
I'm just saying.
to address your comment, we have two factors here. We have the landowner and we have the tenant. Gosnold is the tenant. Mr. Hines, the manager of the property, is the landowner. What Mr. Hines doesn't want is he doesn't want to agree to lose his tenant in 15 years and be held responsible for everything the tenant has agreed to fund, if you will. So that's why they keep saying that. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I mean,
15 years, if you don't have an option to renew and they don't renew, you don't want to have to repave the road again.
Yeah, or there might be some better
make it
use
go.
at that point. You know, if it's 20 years down the road, they're signing a 20-year lease, but 20 years down the road, things may change. There may not be a demand for it.
and you may not also own the land
May
either.
not- Yeah. But certainly while they're there,
Does
you
that
know,
answer, does that?
No, I wanted to get, I just had that question. I keep hearing as long as Gosnell's there. And I don't, why we go into great lengths if there's a certain time limit that they're packing up. I just wanted to know what it was.
Well,
I mean, they said there's
my
certain,
interpretation is it's probably what we call a triple net lease, and Mr. Hines is saying, you're not going to dump that on me. Gosnold's paying for that. It's a term of the lease. That's just my experience, but,
thank you.
okay, so there's been a lot of people sitting in the room being very patient, very quiet. I appreciate that. Is there anybody here that wanted to speak on this matter or wanted to be heard on this matter this evening? Anybody online? Okay. And you've given your test. Somebody's got their hand up. Go ahead. I think it's Naz.
Yeah, I guess, Mr. Chair, through you, we should really I mean, we going through this use variance very quick and making all the trees and the sidewalk and the lights, everything making look pretty. And the main issue is the use variance. We should really concentrate on the use variance before we get into these details. Like I said, I'm not convinced of Mr. Bobrowski said, but I'll wait to see his case laws he talked about. And I hope I could get support from the board from that until we see those cases. Because I'm not convinced that this is federally protected like he claims it is.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So if I heard you right, you're saying that we should encourage them to go forward with their site
No.
plans and their engineering, et cetera, but we, as a board, really want to give them an indication, probably at the next meeting, where we stand on this use.
I'm not encouraging or discouraging. This is their business. I'll vote what my conscience telling me, and I'll vote what's based on when I see these case laws. They want to continue with the engineering, this is their call. I'm not saying spend money or not spend money. I mean, any business, you're gonna have to spend money, but I'm not encouraging or discouraging.
Yeah, okay. You heard him.
Again.
Yeah, okay. So, at this time, I think we've brought to evidence anything that's pertinent this evening. Obviously, we're not ready to go forward yet. We have some questions that that Mr. Equilazzi would like to look into more deeply. I think we're looking to hear back a little bit more information. Attorney Morton wants to go on a picnic with the board and walk the property. Nope, not a picnic? You didn't Okay, so, but that isn't a terrible idea. Would you be receptive to the board coming by and, you know, we could go walk around and, okay, so I guess we're good to continue. Do you want to come back in 2 weeks, or do you want more time, or?
I will not be available in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Is your regular meeting on, do you meet on Wednesday, the 11th?
Is that? Okay, yeah, and you're not around for Wednesday, the 11th.
No, I can make Wednesday, the 11th. That'd be fine.
Okay,
September 11th?
so that's 9, 11, 24, continue.
Thank you.
Of course, we have to vote on it, but yeah, that's, anybody got any objections to that, or, Mr. Turner, you're here, is there anything that's been said tonight that you think that you could add that we need to hear, or
No comment at
do
this
they
time.
need to use 2x6s instead of 2x4s, or galvanized nails over staples, we don't need to do that, we're zoning, we don't care about that.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so, do you have a motion to continue until September 11th?
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Motion has been made.
Mr. Chair, Nazi wants to speak.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead, Naz.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, through you, we'd like to mention that we'd like these case laws at least 2 weeks prior to September 11, please. So we'll have a chance to review them.
I'll
The
send it.
case laws that Attorney Bobrowski talked about, we'd like to see them 2 weeks prior to
I'll
September.
send it to Sonia when I get home this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
You'll have, okay. Anything else? You got anybody online on Zoom that put their, I see a hand coming up. Go ahead. If you want to ask a question, you have to come up. You have to speak into the microphone. You have to say your name, your political beliefs. No, you don't, we don't need you. We need your name and address, who you are, and then go ahead. But that's why I asked if anybody had anything to say, but.
I just have a question.
You-
My name is Mary Beth Hershey, and I live in Parkwood.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, is the property where Gosnold is now in Pocasset, because I lived on the Cape most of my life, do they own that land? Are they tenants, or is that the only property? Because I've been there more than 50 years, I'm just wondering.
I don't know if they own it or lease it, or I don't know. Hang on a minute. Do you know, sir?
Yeah, I do. So the Pocasset site, which was administrative services only, is county-owned, and we lease the building for $1 a year. Okay.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I was just curious,
Did you have a building you wanted to rent to them?
No, I just wanted to know why people thought they might pack up and leave, because I lived on the Cape, they've been there 50 years.
Maybe the rent's too high. Maybe the location, that's gotten, we're zoning, and all we're trying to decide is this the right use for this location? That's what this board's about. Their motivations for moving, their business decisions. We don't get into business decisions, but thank you for the question.
So I continue with my motion?
So your motion was to...
To continue.
Your motion was to continue, and it hasn't been seconded yet.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Larson. All in favor, say aye. Mr. Larson.
Aye.
Ms. Debonese.
Aye.
Conti.
Aye.
Semple.
Aye.
Myself, aye. Okay, we're continued until September 11th. Same time, same place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, Mr. Chair,
Yes. I
for
see
the
your
record,
eyes.
I'm voting on this matter. I vote yes. Just let's keep the record straight.
Oh, you want
I
to
am
keep the
for
record that
this
you
matter.
voted to continue?
I just,
Yes.
You were here for the whole meeting, so,
I don't, is any of these...
okay, thank you.
One of these
For the
are
record,
clients.
Thank you.
yep, and for our record keeper,
One of
just
these
when
I
you
thought were
put the vote down.
Oh, Donna Bellis.
Okay,
Yeah, okay. No, he's here, okay.
we're gonna move on to public hearings.
No, that's it.
And did,
All right. Yeah, I knew one of them was GIS.
did Did our chair sign off, or is he still online?
I think he's gone.
He's left. It's, just for the record, he's there? He's muted? Okay.
So do we hand all this stuff
We're
back?
gonna, we got 5 more items ahead of us. But, Mr. Alcalasi, where you are, I imagine it's a little bit different. It's 8 o'clock at
Said I
night
went
here.
through this
Where is
whole
it? What
packet.
time is it for you?
Yeah, it's 3 in the morning. I'm gonna log out, and thank you for listening.
Hey,
Thank
could
you
you
all.
people be a little bit louder? It's making it very easy for us to do business. Oh, the opposite. Thank you. Go ahead, Naz.
All right, no, I'm gonna log out, and thank you for listening, and I guess we'll see you next hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. You're going to go to bed. Have a good sleep.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you for being online.
Bye.
3 o'clock in the morning, I think I'd be wanting to go to bed.
You have a Gosnell collection?
I have a Gosnell collection right here. You're turning this back? Turning it back in, okay. Is that a Gosnell collection? Okay. It's kind of a small file for such a big project, you know? They end up earning their own separate lots.
Well on their way to their own separate boats.
I think that's that principal department assistant being ruthlessly efficient, taking all the trash out. Not sure. Let's see if I've got it right. My God. You do such a good job. Everything's right in order. The next one, the next file. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing in front of us is 3724 Robert and Deborah Benson. While you guys come up and sit down and don't let the seats cool off, get them while they're warm. I'm going to read this in. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on August 14th, 2024 at 6:30 PM in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 37-24 for a variance or a special permit from the requirements of Article 6, Table 628, and Article 13, Section 1352 and Section 1353 of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Robert and Deborah Benson of 64 Pilgrim Avenue, Wareham, Mass., seeking to place a screened porch with a roof on existing deck attached to the existing dwelling located at 64 Pilgrim Avenue. This appears on Assessors Map 50F, Lot 125, in the R30 zoning district. Richie.
Thank you. I just wanted to keep up where Nazi left off, passing the
Yeah,
candy
well-
around here, so I didn't want
I want
to...
Nancy to know he's worth a mint to me. So, 1 second, folks. You guys got them?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, tell us what you want to do. I just read it, but you're going to, now, what's your words?
Good evening, thanks for having us.
Hi, thank you.
You got to say your name and first, and then you can tell us what you're going to do.
Deborah Benson,
Robert Benson.
Okay.
and what we're looking to do is basically just screen in the deck that we have right now. It's located on the south side. Our house faces the south, our front of the house, kind of, and it's in extreme heat. And our neighbor took down 3 trees. When we first bought the property, it was very shady lot, and trees are gone, the deck's bubbling up, it's so hot, I can't even walk barefoot on it. So we wanted to just enclose it's a good-sized deck on the whole side of the house, one portion of it.
So you're in the corner
Put a
of
roof
Pilgrim and
and-
Angelo,
El Jello.
El Jello, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, right on the corner.
All right.
So So I have other pictures of the house too, if you just wanted to see. The deck's already there, so it's just basically enhancing it and being able to enjoy it still, for pleasure, out on the deck. I can't even go out there. It's to sit there. It's from 6 o'clock, and when the sun comes up, it's all day long. And it's just not even enjoyable anymore,
So the
really.
trees in your neighbor's yard used to give you free shade, and he cut them down.
You kind of,
That's one
which I
way
don't
to-
blame, it was a little windy and
If I could cut some trees down in my yard and get my neighbors to go inside, I'd do it.
It's worked.
it did work. Oh, he
So,
likes us.
I'm seeing the plan here. So your address is on Pilgrim Avenue, but you're on the corner of El Jello.
That's the back of our house when you come
El
in.
Jello's the back of your house?
And Jello's the back, yeah. It's weird, we're right on,
And so your front faces your neighbor?
which is, yep, like this, and, yep, we face
And so the
Street.
address on Pilgrim Avenue is actually your side of your house?
So the address is actually 64, that's Pilgrim Ave.
If the fire department came, they'd be calling your side the front, because they have the A, B, C, D thing, you know, that they
Right.
do, but
Right.
you're like my wife, she calls the back door the front door, and
It is a bit confusing, but the side of the house facing El Jello is considered the back.
Yeah, it's
The other side is
the
facing
side.
our neighbor, that's where the deck is, where I think you have a
you call the
picture of that.
deck the front of your house, yep, I'm seeing where it is, okay.
Because the
Yeah.
front of the house has a slider. It's a,
Hold that color
sliding.
picture up, please.
this is the side, but I don't have a picture of the.
Okay, that's your deck. Okay, I got it.
Oh, I think I do. Yeah, so the front of our house, we just put a fence up to keep the green, and the dog.
Hold it up.
But it's a slider in the front. That's the front of our house.
Oh, they're in the package here, all I had to do was turn the page, didn't I?
And I don't like the sun. My face doesn't like it, so I wanted to show you what happens to my skin so that I can't be in the sun.
Oh, is that what happened after you got your COVID shot?
It's not shingles.
Okay, so
I just wanted
I
to-
kind of get it, and you've been denied to do this because, why have you been denied?
Because I believe that we're close to my neighbor's fence.
Okay,
So,
now you're gonna put a roof over it and everything else, and it's gonna,
so
We're just gonna enclose
yeah,
it.
we're just gonna come off the top of the,
Like,
just coming off the
Screen
top of
it.
the, somewhere in the middle there, and just bring it out, bring it down, and then screen
you're
it.
not going from the gutter, you're going up into the roof and
We're
coming
going
up.
up
Yeah,
somewhere into
on
the
the
roof
roof
line.
to make
Okay.
it more air flowing.
I mean, if it helps our neighbors support it, he's fine with it.
Yeah, he signed it. He's 92 years old. Wonderful man. Right there.
Oh, I see the stumps too, that, you know,
Yep.
They were good, healthy trees, but I think he felt
He
bad
was-
after he took them down, but.
He was nervous that they were gonna fall on our house, so he wanted to be more neighborly, but we didn't realize what it was gonna do.
yeah, well,
I can't even, it's
I
so
get
hot.
it.
And now the wind comes in too, and trying to keep an umbrella.
now let me just, as you're talking, I'm looking through your file here, and I had the building inspector's letter, I just want to look at it. I know the commissioner's sitting right there, but
Side setback encroachment.
it's a side setback?
Encroachment, correct, yeah.
It-
So the existing deck is 7.5 feet, 8 feet off the lot
And he
line.
needs 10,
Needs 10.
so you're looking for a variance for 3.5 feet?
Correct.
I think it's a bit closer, further apart than the,
According to what you...
Talking about the edge of your deck to the property line,
yeah.
what he's,
To the fence.
So,
One second.
you think
I
it's-
came up with 7.88 feet, according to the site plan that you submitted.
7.8, okay, yeah.
is this a variance or a special permit where it's an existing non-conforming,
You can act on it either way.
if it's not detrimental?
Correct.
So if we find it detrimental, we have to grant a variance. If we find it not detrimental to the neighborhood, we can grant a special permit.
Correct.
So first of all, Does anybody on the board have any questions? So in order to help us decide whether this is detrimental to the neighborhood, I'm going to ask, is there anybody here or online that would like to speak regarding this matter? Either for or against? Okay, I think your hand went up first. Microphone, sir. We don't do anything, everything gets, yep.
He lives in the house right over, here behind us.
Yes. David Vardy, 14 Surf Ave,
Okay,
abutting neighbor,
you're the butter, front, rear, side,
rear.
okay?
Well, back,
Back,
we've
Back.
decided,
yeah,
You're not the street.
shed is.
I'm on Surf.
Okay, go ahead.
So, as far as any disruption to the neighborhood, it would be zero. As far as making their deck and house more useful, 100%.
So you're coming
In
up...
favor.
In favor?
Yes.
You're coming up in support of their request?
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
very good.
Who else was waving at me? The black shirt, come on up.
Thanks, Dave.
Hi, my name is James Doobie. I live on 16 Worrell Ave, same neighborhood, right down the street, and I am in favor of this project. It would not be detrimental. It's pretty much the first property when you drive into the neighborhood that you will see, and I think that'll be the opposite of detrimental. It'll be something,
You think it'll actually help the neighborhood?
yes, I believe that, yes.
Okay. Is it better than the trees that the guy cut down? or-
I wasn't here for the tree part, but
Okay. Well, thank you.
all those lots are non-conforming, so.
You know, I thank you and I thank your other neighbor because people are very willing to come in front of this board and complain and tell us when they object to things. It's very rare that we get people coming in and saying, I support. So that shows that they must either have paid you a lot of money or be good neighbors. And I don't, you know.
Either.
They need the money to build the roof, I think, so.
I'm not a builder, no. I'm the opposite, no.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? Any questions from the board?
None.
Okay, I think the next thing we want to decide is if we find this detrimental to the neighborhood. I certainly do not.
Close the
Do you
public
want to close it? Yeah.
Close the, I'll make,
We don't have to, we can close now if you want to make that
I'll
motion.
make that motion to
So we
close.
got a motion to close the public portion of this hearing. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the second public portion. Troy?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Richard?
Aye. Yes.
Myself, aye. So nobody can speak except for the board at this point. My mother used to call them mouth zippers. So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
motion
as
to approve by
presented.
Veronica, seconded
Second.
by Troy. Do we have a plan that you're gonna go by? How do we know what you're gonna build, or is the building inspector gonna lord it over you?
So there is a drawn plan in there right now.
There is a drawn plan in here? Okay. Is
But
it-
it's just
is
a
it-
quick-
Is it drawn like by
Where-
hand, or,
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. In
okay?
case we were
Is
disapproved.
it something
so-
that you guys can work from? Okay. So the motion's been made and seconded to approve as presented. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, aye.
Awesome.
We could have treated you like Gosnold and haunted you for a couple of hours, but you can leave.
Thank you very much, guys.
Good luck with your porch. Thank you. Can we put those back in? Thank you. Eighty-eight twenty-four, Elizabeth Gormley. Anybody, oh.
Whose phone is that that keeps ringing?
Good evening.
I'm going to read this in. Brad.
Well, I did after my son, he's leaving Georgia, so he's boarding a plane, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
I'm boarding a plane, like, oh,
Couple of applications.
thank you.
Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on August 14th, 2024, 6:30 PM, room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center,
Oh, they want to tear this one down.
48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571. Consider petition number 38-24 for a special permit or for a variance from the requirements of Article 6, Table 628, and Article 13, Section 1355, and Section 1356 of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Elizabeth Gormley, Tara Bradley Bertello of J.C. Engineering, Inc., of 2854 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass., seeking to raise the existing dwelling and attached decks to allow for the construction of a new single-family dwelling located at 11 Glendale Road. This would appear on Assessors Map 2, Lot 090, in the R30 zoning district. Go ahead, Brad.
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, J.C. Engineering. Thanks again for the introduction. Again, this is a tear-down rebuild of a single-family dwelling. Existing house is ranch style, 20 feet wide by 34 feet long, approximately 700 square feet. There currently exists a deck on the front of the dwelling facing Glendale Road, and a pretty sizable deck on the side of the street facing Short Street. The existing deck is approximately 3 feet from the front property line, or 2.8 feet from the front property line, while the deck on the side, most of it is roughly 1.7 feet from the property line, although a small ramp section does encroach within the street layout. We are proposing to construct a ranch-style one-story house, 26 by 40, so approximately 6 feet wider and 6 feet deeper. The expansion of the structure towards the side property line and towards the rear is in conformance with zoning setback requirements for side setbacks. We're greater than 10 feet from the side property line. We are proposing a small stoop on the side of the dwelling, 3 by 6 stoop off an anticipated slider location with a wraparound step. That would extend 6.6 feet from the property line, so within the 10-foot zoning setback, but set back from the property line further than the existing structure in that location. The front of the dwelling will be pulled away from the street by approximately 10 inches, and the deck is being constructed on approximately the same footprint. We have a max floor area ratio on this property of 1,200 square feet, and we're proposing 1,124. And it's currently non-conforming on building coverage. The max footprint coverage allowed on this lot's 1,000 square feet. The existing is 1,424, and we're proposing a few square feet less than that at 1,421. Pretty much a tear-down rebuild on the same footprint, same style house. We feel it's not going to be detrimental to the neighborhood since we are meeting side setbacks and slightly pulling the house away from the front setback and not creating any new nonconformities. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
I'm reviewing the inspector's letter right. Thank you. Okay.
There's a few pictures in the application as well.
I saw the pictures, thank you. Good job on those, I got it. So, we're actually tearing a house down and making even though what's coming in there is gonna somewhat not conform, it's gonna be more conforming than what's there right now.
Yes.
It's going to be less non-conforming.
Less non-conforming,
Less
yes.
non-conforming, I guess, is a better way of saying it, okay. Is that about right? Yeah. Okay. Any questions from the board? Nope. Okay. Then let's get right and see if there's anybody from the neighborhood here. Anybody online or in the room that has any comments for, against, questions, anything? Okay. Give us a minute to look at this. Have you seen it, Richard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You've had a chance, you got a good idea, Okay. I personally don't find it more detrimental to the neighborhood than what's currently there. I think it actually, again, it could be improving the neighborhood, so I'm personally in favor of granting it as a special permit, but first we have to vote that it's not detrimental to the neighborhood and that we will act as a special permit opposed to acting as a variance. So if I have a motion that we can find this to be not detrimental, we can act as a special permit.
So moved.
So I have a motion that this is not detrimental to the neighborhood and that this board can act in favor of this application in the form of a special permit. Do I have a second?
A second.
Seconded by Mr. Conti. All in favor say aye. Mr. Lawson?
Aye.
Debonese?
Aye.
Mr. Conti?
Aye.
Mr. Semple?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Okay, so we're talking about a special permit. And now that you've sat through all the good Gosnold stuff and everything that was controversial, this seems awfully easy, doesn't it?
Trying to make it quick, make your night a little quicker.
It does. So, do I have a motion to approve?
Close the,
So moved.
close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
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 Myself, aye. Public hearing is closed. Again, mouth zippers, close them. All right. Now I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve as presented.
As presented. Seconded?
Second.
Seconded by Richard. Motion made by Chris Conti, seconded by Richard Simple. All in favor say aye. Mr. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Debonese?
Aye.
Mr. Conti?
Aye.
Mr. Simple?
Aye.
Myself, aye.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Botello, thank you for coming in this evening.
Welcome.
Thank you for your nice, neat presentation, too. Makes it easy for us to make a decision when the information's all in a nice packet.
You're welcome.
I better keep my notes going here. 3924 Cronin. Just indulge me for 1 second because, okay. I heard the ding, 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 and I just wanted to make sure that everything was good. Thank you. Thanks. Zoning Board of, by the way, the price of these folders must have gone up. I noticed there's no extras tonight, you know? Staples
Yeah,
prices.
you know, it's awful.
If Nazi was here, we'd be in, oh, never mind, we got another one over there, okay. You need
guys-
my
you guys didn't ask
need
for
my
so many
foolishness,
copies,
don't
you know?
Okay. The zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on August 14th, 2024, at 6:30 PM in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571. To consider petition number 39-24 for a special permit or a variance from the requirements of Article 6, Table 621, and Article 13, Section 1352, and Section 1353 of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Deborah and John Cronin, care of William Lockwood of Lockwood Architects of Onset, Mass., proposing to add two additions, one significant to be added to the south side, and one small entry addition to be added to the west side of the existing dwelling, located at 207 Charge Pond Road. This appears on Assessors Map 114, C1, lots 17 and 18 in the R130 zoning district. I assume you're going to do the talking.
I'll do a little bit anyway.
Okay,
Good evening, William Lockwood, Lockwood Architects, representing the clients who are with me tonight, John and Deborah Cronin. And they live at the property at 207 Charge Pond Road. They bought the property and built the house in, I believe, 1987, so they lived happily in the property for about 40 years, and it's time now that they would like to get some more things. They have, over the years, added a couple of decks and a swimming pool, and now they would like to add some more square footage and an entrance to the covered entrance at the front. So it's an interesting property in that they bought a double lot of 10,000, I believe the zoning at that time was 10,000 square feet. They bought two lots, and then they have a paper street on each side of them. But now the zoning has changed to 130,000 with a 100-foot setback and a 100-foot deep lot. So we have an issue,
neighborhood.
which needs some resolution. So you have in your packet there site plan from Braman Surveying, as well as an architectural plan from our office. And
So they've got 23,800 square feet total, they've got two,
yes, they do.
and you're showing them all as one combined lot now, because they are combined.
They are combined, and they were effectively combined before, because they built the house pretty much smack in the middle across the
And I see
division
a
line.
paper road on either side of their property and one to the front. Are those paper or are those existing?
Oh, the paper.
They're paper?
They're wooded as it stands
But
now.
they're paper.
Yeah.
So, okay. I got the picture, I think. So you need a variance or, or
I believe
a
the special permit is pre-existing.
100 feet, and you need something for the 30 feet. 100 feet from the front and the 30 feet from the rear.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you need from us?
We're pre-existing and non-conforming
Get it.
in both cases.
Mr. Turner, have I seen it right? All they really need is the 100 foot from the front to be
Yeah, you can act on it as a special permit or a variance. You need the front setback and the rear setback. But there's something else that I just noticed on this plan. They have proposed deck addition. They're going to fill in an area. I don't know if you can see that on your plan.
proposed deck addition, and there's a little circle that there is.
Yeah. So the existing pool is going to be relocated, so it's going to, the deck was built around the circular pool, so they're going to fill in that deck area. I did not notice that when I did my determination, so they should seek relief for that also.
So we should tell them it's okay to fill the hole if they take the pool out?
No, no. If you look on the site plan, it says proposed deck addition. That's also in the rear setback.
I see existing deck.
And then right next to it, the circle piece of pie.
Proposed addition, okay.
So they should,
So, let me see it.
should
I'm
seek
gonna-
relief for that also.
I'm going back to coloring. When I can't, words don't work, I get my crayons out. Have I made yellow the proposed deck addition?
No.
No, incorrect.
See?
Yeah, it's right here.
It's that little, that little piece of a circle?
Yeah.
There's two existing decks.
Yeah, I would,
There's an upper one
Okay.
that was built in '87, and I believe it was 2007, we built the lower one when we put the pool in.
Mm-hmm.
And when the pool went in, we built the deck over and kind of shaped it around the edge of the pool.
Your words are working, it's just, you know, I'm definitely a visual person, so.
Sure.
In red, I got it right finally?
yes,
Yes, sir.
in red, you've got it.
That's the little piece
Okay,
that's missing in the existing deck.
so you need permission for that little piece.
If that's,
I guess we do.
We have a lot of people in town looking for permission for a little piece.
Not gonna touch that.
Depends on how you spell peace.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So, again, I don't think this is a big deal. Obviously, they can't do anything within 100 feet of the street because they don't even have 100 feet on their depth, I don't think. 80 feet.
oh, my lot is 100 feet.
It's 100 feet deep.
100 feet the other way?
No, it's, you're reading the, without the radius.
Oh, without the radius, so you got the 100 feet.
We have 100 feet.
The lot is 100 feet. No one on the street.
So you could build an envelope straight up 35 feet tall legally. Oh, wait a minute, no,
No,
because
you
you
couldn't.
can't, because you're gonna be 30 feet from that side too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to give you some relief. So what are you gonna be? What's your frontage gonna be?
The frontage is, I believe it's 200, which,
Setback, I'm sorry, from the...
the setback from the street will be 43.12.
43.12. And then what's the setback from the rear gonna be?
Well, now that we're talking about that little,
The relief on the 30-foot requirement from,
will have to be about, we show the corner of the existing house, or the proposed addition at 14 feet, the corner of the existing deck at 3.9 feet. So this is going to be approximately 8 feet off the property line.
okay. So the deck's gonna be real close, then the house is gonna be 14 feet. And it was probably 10 feet in previous zoning before they went to 130.
Yeah,
We went to the zoning, at the time the house was built, they were conforming.
oh, yeah, presumably, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Everything but the 3'9" would be conforming. Anybody here that want to speak about this? For, against, yay, nay, like it, don't like it? Okay. Let's, any questions from the board?
No questions.
Let's close the public portion, somebody.
Make a motion to close the public portion of this meeting?
Do I have a second on that?
A second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Semple and seconded by Mr. Conti to close the public portion of this hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, aye, okay. The public input is closed. The only ones that can speak now are the board. Anything from the board to further discuss? Any questions of the applicant? Anybody got a motion?
So it looks like we have one variance.
We're gonna act as, we're gonna try to act as a special permit. What do we?
That can't be a special permit.
What is it?
It is existing and it meets the requirement, I believe, on the south, which is the requirements, is that right? It's 100?
Front setback from the street is 100 feet.
That's the new, that's up there.
They're basically 43 feet away.
They went up there and they made a bunch of 10,000 square foot lots and they conformed. And then after all the lots were created and checkerboarded and built on, the town went through and made it 130,000 square feet and imposed these setbacks for new construction. So all, get it?
No, I do. I know what you're saying, but that's not, I wasn't
Yeah,
reading this
I get it. It was
correctly.
just, yeah.
The sides are a 30-foot requirement, and you have a 102 going to 71. Sorry, that's my mistake.
Okay, so we're on a
Okay, yeah.
special permit.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. No, that's good,
That
that's
it's
why,
not detrimental.
it's not detrimental, so, your motion is that you feel this is not detrimental to the neighborhood and we can act as a
Yes.
special permit, and Mr. Larson seconds it?
I do.
Okay. Were you that quick to say that when you were getting married?
No.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Mr. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Debonese?
Aye.
Conti?
Aye.
Semple?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Okay, we're acting on this as a special permit. And so the motion is going to be to grant relief on front yard setback. We're going to give relief from 100 feet down to 43.12 feet for the front. And we're going to, rear yard setback, we're going to give relief from 30 feet down to 14 feet for the house and 3.9 feet for the deck. Who would like to make that motion?
It would be 8 feet for the deck.
8 feet for the deck? So the 3.9,
It already exists.
That exists, that's correct.
Correct.
so I can edit my comment that we're 8 feet from the deck. The deck is 8 feet
Yeah.
from the line.
Right.
Okay.
The new
Better.
section. The new section that they're going to put back.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
even better than,
8 feet.
so all I need is a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, the motion's been made by Ms. Debonese to grant relief on the front setback and the side setback. Again, repeating 43.12 feet from the front, 8 feet for the deck from the rear, 14 feet of the house from the rear or the side. And it's going to be seconded by
I'll second it.
Mr. Larson. All in favor, say aye. Mr. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Debonese?
Aye.
Mr. Conti?
Aye.
Mr. Semple?
Aye.
Myself, aye. We're done with you.
I hear that a lot.
Thank you for coming in again. As I said
Thank you very much.
to Mr. Patello, it's always easier when people give us a nice, well-organized package. It makes it easier for us to do our job. Can I have the folders back? Thank you. That's all right, no problem.
The problem with those peppermentos, they make you thirsty.
Is there water in there? I think there's some water in there.
A little closer, I don't want to. I get up, I might just keep going out the door.
And
I'm wore out, man.
ruling number 4, Denovalis. 40-24. Did I say your name terribly?
That's okay, most people do.
How do you say it?
Dino Bellis.
Diovelis. Can't imagine what people have done with Ekabachi my whole life, can you? So, let me read this in and then I'll set you free. 1, 2 for you. 1, 2 over this way, that way you guys get. The zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on August 14th, 2024 at 6:30 PM in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 40-24 for a special permit or a variance from the requirements of Article 6, Table 620, Table 622, and Table 628, and Article 13, Sections 1351, 1352, and 1352 of the Wareham zoning bylaws, to Elizabeth Donovelis, care of Brian Grady of GAF Engineering of 266 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., seeking to construct a small 215 square foot, one-story breezeway addition to the existing home, which will connect it to the existing accessory dwelling located at 9 Captain Collins Drive. This appears on Assessors Map 2, Lot 24 and 25 in the OVR2 zoning district. So what's the difference between a small 215 square foot addition and a large 215 square foot addition?
Your perspective.
Perspective. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Brian Grady, GAF Engineering, thank you for the introduction. You just summarized the project there. They're looking to do, I think you have plans in your package. At the property, there exists an accessory dwelling, this structure on the right, and the single-family home. What the applicants are looking to do is connect those with a small 215 square foot addition.
Oh, a small addition.
And that requires some relief from the board, because to do that is making some small, slight increases to the building coverage, impervious coverage, and the floor area ratio. So we're increasing building coverage from 26.6 to 31.5%. Impervious coverage is increasing from 51.8 to 54.7. And floor area ratio is increasing from 48.4 to 51%. So just a few percentage points of increases in those areas. If you're familiar with the site, or if you've been there, look at the plan, the area where the addition is occurring already has some impervious sidewalk and some concrete stoops. So it's not undisturbed area. I don't think there's any undisturbed area on the lot, actually. We have conservation approval for the project. We are in the buffer zone to a coastal beach. And if you look in the package, there are some letters from Director Butters who are supporting the project. So we think that this was something you can consider as not detrimental to the neighborhood and hopefully approve as a special permit. And if we could answer any questions.
So we need variance or special permit. This can go as a special permit too if it's non-detrimental.
Correct.
Okay, so we're looking for relief on building coverage of 4 or 5%.
Correct.
We're looking for impervious surface coverage, 4 or 5%, less than 5%. We're looking at floor area ratio.
Less than 3%, yeah.
That's the biggie. That's the big one that.
Yeah, huge, yeah.
That's the one that, yeah, so you're going, the bylaws say you can have 20%. You've already got 48, and you want to go to 51. But going from 48 to 51, it's only taking 215 square feet,
Correct.
which is a rather small addition.
Correct.
I think you're just connecting the dots, right? Like, it's like a breezeway between a garage and a house.
Yeah, what it's doing, it's making it function more as a family dwelling, connecting the accessory structure.
Right now, it's an accessory dwelling and a primary dwelling.
Correct.
And as it is right here, the two are connected, so you could actually not have to get wet in a rainstorm.
Correct. This 215 square feet, there'll be a slight enlargement to the kitchen, but the rest will be an entryway, mudroom, closet.
So if it was like an in-law situation and you got the eye fallen and I can't get up, you wouldn't have to go outdoors to go give help.
Correct. Their son's living in the guest cottage now, but could be an in-law, something,
It's a
exactly.
tenant now.
Son,
Son?
yes.
The sun doesn't fall?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know the sun sets, but I thought sometime. Okay, I think I'm good with everything here. I get it. Addition, alterate structural changes found. if we find it more detrimental, is there anybody here in the neighborhood, anybody in the room or online that wants to speak on this matter? I saw the letters in the folder of the people in support. Tell me, for whatever reason, I'm just not, usually I'm pretty good at placing stuff. I know almost every house in town just because I'm nosy.
This is a street or two over from Point Independence Yacht Club,
Heading towards Onset or heading towards
in
Buzzards
Onset.
Bay?
heading back towards the village, yeah.
If you go over Stonebridge,
Yeah.
it's 3 streets down
Oh,
on the
yeah,
right.
okay, I know where it is, never mind. All right, yes. Took me,
South Water Street, take South Water
Yeah,
Street
yeah,
and get
yeah,
around, you'll
yeah.
find it over there.
yeah, now, yeah, I just, when you get to be over 30, you start having these problems with your brain.
Well aware of that, yeah.
Yeah.
CRS,
I just
baby.
got one question. Mr. Chair, I have one question. In their cover letter, they talk down here about a project consisting of reconstructing the existing gasoline station. I guess this must be a...
That's a typo, clearly.
Be a big error, right? Okay.
We can
Apologize
strike,
for
we
that.
can strike that?
Can you strike that, please? Yeah.
Where's that? Where'd you find it?
On the first page, the bottom.
Oh, okay, on GAF's letter.
Sorry, I
Somebody
was
was
to
doing some
replace-
cutting
I
and
was-
pasting?
I
Pardon me?
was to replace that.
You
I
were supposed to,
apologize. Yeah. They sent revised packets, cover letter, and I was supposed to
Oh, so-
replace it. I told the applicant I would, and I didn't. I apologize.
I kind of figured it should have been there.
She left it in for some humor, make sure that we were paying attention.
I knew that you would chair him tonight,
how
so
does it feel being under that bus?
I love it. I'm here quite often.
I have
Okay.
another question, too. So now it's 2 dwellings. When they put this breezeway in, is that going to make it 1 dwelling?
I don't believe so. I don't
No,
believe
it's-
that. That's a good question for the commissioner. What would your opinion be on that?
Village is zoned for,
Excuse me?
village is zoned for 2 units, yeah.
So the question was, it's currently considered 2 units, 2 dwellings. Now, when they connect them, is it still considered 2 dwellings, or does it? Can they go to the town and say, stop sending me 2 sewer bills? Or is it still 2 dwellings?
2 units is allowed in the zone.
2 units allowed.
I know.
I mean, I guess it would be 1 structure, but
One
the,
structure, but it's still 2 unit
in between,
family,
what
right?
they're
1 or 2
building is
family,
just
so-
basically, it's not
Are they,
enclosed space, is that correct? I'm trying to remember back. It's more basically a breezeway, right?
Well, no, it's enclosed,
Yeah.
and it's just going to be an entryway.
But you walk in, you can go left and you go
left
right.
to right. Kitchen will be a little bit larger, and you go left and right entry, it'd be a mudroom with a closet.
Yeah, I think, I'd say it's still 2 units.
still 2 units? Yeah, I think I
looked at that before.
Yeah, there's 2 separate doors that'll be
Right.
there. You don't
Yep.
open into an
I
open
hate to
area.
agree, I hate to agree with the
Yeah.
commissioner, because our job is to sit here and overturn every decision he makes, and make him really happy, you know? But, I think I agree with you, Paul. I think it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Answer your question?
Yeah, I just thought, seeing how they were connected, it would now be 1 dwelling and with a
It's still
2-family
2
type deal.
dwellings. It's like, yeah, sort of like a multifamily, you know? Like what's happening on Main Street there, they have 1 unit, but they're putting 4 apartments in it.
Because right now, it's what, one's a principal dwelling, the other one's an accessory building? Or are they?
I think they're considered 2 separate dwellings.
I think the field card calls it a cottage.
Out of curiosity, do you get 2 water bills and 2 sewer bills? They're 2 dwellings, it's 2 units, 2 dwellings.
No, we can't.
The sewer department, EDU, equivalent dwelling unit, you know? They're just making it more convenient, they're not
Assessor's card calls the other structure a bungalow,
a bungalow.
2-bedroom bungalow.
Okay. All set? Any questions?
No, but I'm getting really tired.
Getting really, really tired. It's only almost 9, but we can't even extend until 10 o'clock. And you know what? We're on next to the last one. Should we slow it down? Are you tired, or you need more time to think? Somebody have a motion to close the public portion of this hearing?
So moved.
By Troy, seconded by Veronica. The motion is to, you did?
Yes, I second.
Yes, you seconded, okay. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, aye, okay. The public is all now quiet, silenced. The board have any further comments, questions, desires?
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion has been made by Ms. Debonese to approve as presented
As a special permit?
As a special.
as a special permit.
Special permit, yeah. Not detrimental.
We should actually vote separately that this can be a special permit. Can we do it all in one vote? We agree that this is a special permit and we approve it? And it's seconded by Troy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's gonna look nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
It's
gonna
gonna
look
be very
nice.
functional that way. I think that's a good decision.
Much more functional.
Good improvement. Yep. Very nice. You guys wanna give me your folders back? Thank you. I was trying to hold them and put them in somebody else's folder, but... We're getting to the end.
One more.
And this next one, I think, is gonna be on Zoom.
I don't think she said it, but she is.
It's just as presented.
He's on Zoom.
The presenter's gonna be on Zoom anyway. So the next thing up is gonna be 4124 Kim Evelyn, 9 Maple Avenue, and I will read that in, and you're getting her on,
The engineer,
pardon me, the engineer, he
Joe
knows.
Hannon.
Engineer's knows that I have to read it in. And planning office. 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody once commented that I should let somebody else read them in when I'm chairing, but gives the other members a chance to look at the folder while I'm reading, instead of two people not being able to see it. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on August 14th, 2024 at 6:30 PM in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 41-24 for a special permit or a variance from the requirements of Article 6, Table 621 and 628, and Article 13, Section 1352 and Section 1353 of the Wareham zoning bylaws to Kim Evelyn, care of Joseph Hannon, P.E. of Atlantic Coast Engineering, LLC, of 88 Front Street, Situate, Mass., seeking to raise the existing dwelling and rebuild above FEMA flood design elevation located at 9 Maple Ave, Wareham, Mass. This appears on map 3, lots A1 and 3/3B in the MR30 zoning district. And go ahead, sir.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
Sort of. I think everybody can hear you better than me.
Okay, excellent. For the record, Joseph Hannon, professional engineer with Atlantic Coast Engineering. As you mentioned, this is a special permit application. This goes back to January of 2023. The owner was doing some construction work and essentially exceeded the 50% substantial improvement threshold. They received a letter from the building commissioner stating that. And so it really forced us and the owners into complying with all current code requirements, including flood requirements. So we designed raising the house up above the FEMA flood zone. We've already been before the Conservation Commission. We have approved order of conditions. As you can see in the zoning table, this is a pre-existing non-conforming lot size. It's also non-conforming on frontage, side setback, rear setback, and building coverage percentage. All we have proposed here is to raise RAISE, the structure up 11.5 feet to meet FEMA requirements. As a result of that, there's obviously additional steps and deck space that had to be designed. So that's why you're seeing an increase in impervious and on lot coverage percentage increase of just about 6%. There is no further nonconformities planned on the setbacks. And again, the increase on the impervious and on the lot coverage is only a result of having to put in more steps and deck space. This project is fairly straightforward, other than it's a small lot with a fair amount of construction here to bring this up to the code requirements. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody on the board got anything that's popped into their view yet? So what we have here is they started to do the work and then they went beyond the 51%, so now they're gonna tear the whole thing down and build a whole new house.
The first part is correct, but not tear down the whole house. It's just raise it up to FEMA compliance. So RAISE versus RAZE.
You're gonna jack it up and put stilts under it? Or something like that? Okay,
Exactly. Concrete piers, but yes, exactly the same thing.
concrete piers. Let me just read the building inspector's reply here for a minute. Anything we need to really focus on?
They had a notice of violation from January of 2023, as the engineer stated. They went over the 50% and performed a substantial improvement. So I cited them, and remedy is to elevate it above floodplain, which they are doing.
So they've agreed to comply?
Correct.
And everything they're gonna do, you've seen the plans, everything, it looks good, other than, if we say it's okay for them to pick it up, the rest of it's all okay? We got some...
It will be.
It will be, correct. Because you won't give them a CO until it is, basically.
Right now, I don't have a building permit in front of me. We're just worrying about the zoning right now.
Okay. Okay, does everybody get it? Do we need to grill the guy real hard, or just, see if there's anybody here from the public that wants to speak? Oh, look at, now I know why we had these people here. Go ahead, you know the routine.
Yeah, I sure do. Chelsea Watson, Donnellen. I live on Maple Street, up the street from where the house is. I'm not opposed to it, but my one concern is the public safety for the traffic going up and down the road. As you know, it is a dead-end street. A speed limit is not posted. I have 2 small children, and we had a lot of issues prior to them when they were doing construction before, and my concern is the amount of construction that this will entail is going to cause another issue. So I don't know the correct way of going about it, if that's temporary speed bumps, proper signage, I'm not sure, but for a dead-end street that ends in the water, going very fast is unacceptable.
That's your concern?
That is my concern.
Okay, thank you. Who else? Everybody else was waving. Come on up.
I'm Carolyn Morrissey, and I live on Maple Street. I had multiple times of concern with the prior construction when they did a tremendous amount of construction to upgrade the house with the workers just going so fast down the street, and the concern for public safety. It's a small residential street with no outlet, and that's not posted there, so it's, speed levels or whatnot. So I have no concern in regards to their improvement and to what they're doing to their property. I wish that had been done in due diligence prior. They had known what they were supposed to do because we lived with the ramifications of the traffic and the speeding and the uncertainty. There's elderly people, there's pets, there's small children, and this type of project is a concern for public safety on our street. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Thank you. Who else wants to speak?
Excuse me, Commissioner, I see a lot of times when there's people putting up projects, they'll put their own sign out in front of their house saying, "Construction vehicles slow, beware of children," things like that. Is that something that they can do? And because, I mean, we're not traffic consultants
We
as
can make it a
well.
requirement of saying yes.
Okay.
Make them go buy one of them plastic children's signs and put it in the street.
It doesn't work out. I have 3 on the street right now.
Ma'am, when you speak to the microphone. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name's John Coe. I am 5 Maple Ave. I'm the direct abutter to this project, and my wife.
My name's Elizabeth Angus.
So we have some concerns, because I am right next door.
We've had to deal with it, literally next door to us,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, my family's owned the property half a century, and we have had nothing but problems in these past 2 years between the Onset Bay Marina and now these folks who essentially didn't follow the rules of building. Water bubbler talk, they thought they could do what they wanted to because her husband's a property management owner. Probably thought they could, essentially do what they wanted and no one would notice. The letter we got basically said they were gonna R-A-Z-E the house. We were under the impression they were gonna R-A-I-S-E the house. So now, I don't know if that was a typo in this letter as well, but big concerns. They're about 2 feet from my fence, and they're maybe 20 feet from my house. We already had the issues with Onset Bay Marina pile driving their moorings and their footings in to build their skyscraper racks. And now we're gonna have somebody who's, again, because he couldn't follow the rules, now has to raise his house 11 and a half feet, right next to mine. Essentially, his first floor is gonna be looking into my second floor. So I'm concerned, like these folks said, the street is ridiculously narrow, it's dirt, it's a private way. My neighbor can barely get his F-150 Ford pickup down the road, and basically it's, the disruption is I can't even imagine with the type of construction that needs to be done. I'm a layperson, I don't know, I'm sure the commissioner knows what's involved, but heavy equipment, I'm sure, vibration, dust, debris. What happens if something falls onto my property, onto my house? I mean, we don't get any information about anything that they do other than your notices. Thank goodness for your notices, because otherwise, we would have no idea. And, and again, we run under the understanding they don't have an occupancy permit for the home currently. They're there every weekend. I mean, and it's just been constant problems. And if we just got some information from them or from the engineering company, it's just, again, 50 years there without any problems, and then, last 2, it's been nightmarish. So I don't know what our recourse is or what you could even do, but we're just concerned too, as these neighbors are, with, again, not only the speed of vehicles up and down that street, which is basically, if you go to the end of Maple Street, it goes into the ocean. And, it's just the disruption is gonna be
I
tremendous.
think I went down Maple, that 150, that F-150 you're talking about.
Yes.
He parks in the street, right, with a boat trailer hooked to his trailer.
When he has his boat, yeah, when he has to move it in and out, yeah, he's there. He is, so.
Does he tell everybody when he's gonna park in the street and leave his vehicle in the street?
He tells us, I'm not sure if he's abutting me to the other side.
Wondering.
So I'm not sure if he, indicates to the other neighbors, but he does let me know when he has to do that. So again, never saw any plans, we don't know what this is gonna look like, all, 11 and a half feet.
It's in our
to my
bedroom.
house. We already got the view blocked from the marina, and now, how's it?
Marina's got nothing to do with this.
No, doesn't have anything to do with this, I'm just saying, there's been issue after issue now, all of a sudden, in these forthcoming years. And, property value, it's, so again, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, but.
Yeah, I had a couple of notes here, if you don't mind me bringing it up. We talked about damage. I'm worried about them transporting, building materials in and out of the street, down our street, getting rid of debris, how that's going to affect things. I guess that's about it, really. Mostly concerned about how it's going to affect, this 11 feet is going to affect our house, and if we're going to lose property value. I mean, we put a lot of money into this house, and we did everything the right way, and it's not fair now that he didn't follow the rules, and,
What rule did he not follow? I'm sorry.
He built, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, he built the deck over the seawall. He put the air conditioner in sand on the, not an elevation.
Is that, excuse me for a minute,
Compressor, yeah, so.
is that the current plan to build something that's not conforming, or they haven't pulled a permit yet?
They bought the original structure, it's still there. 1 minute. The structure was worth 161, so they had a budget by FEMA of basically around $80,000. They kept going on and on and on. They were told that they were exceeding what they would propose in their building permit. We finally put a stop to the job, walked through the job, and I came up with an estimate they'd spent well over $300,000.
So you stopped?
So they were in violation of substantial improvement, a FEMA regulation, which is also a building code violation, sent a notice of violation,
Because of
and the remedy is
51%
to
rule.
do what they're doing.
Okay, so the public hearing notice that I read talks about R-A-Z-E. Are we doing R-A-Z-E or R-A-I-S-E? Are we lifting the existing structure, or are we,
So in my letter, I quoted their scope of work, it's RAISE, R-A-I-S-E.
okay. So there's a flaw in the public notice. I don't know.
I apologize, through you, Mr. Chair. Did your initial letter, I think it changed from your first violation to your revised letter? When the applicant initially applied, didn't you send me a revised letter a few weeks later? Before I published?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah, and rebuild.
Just wondering,
Raise and rebuild.
anybody on the board have an opinion if the public notice was to tear the building down and they really just want to lift it, if we need to re-advertise and remail, or if it's a typo that,
I mean, the article shouldn't have changed, though, so.
pardon
The
me?
article shouldn't have changed.
What's in the public notice is Z-E, raise,
Oh.
so at least what I'm reading here, I don't know what went in the paper. So,
It basically
so
says.
anybody that got a notice within the abutters list that had to be mailed, didn't get the notice that it's being lifted, not torn down. So we might want to re-advertise that. I'm just thinking out loud. I think we should hold off making a decision tonight and get an opinion on that.
Even if the house is torn down, it would have to be rebuilt at the same elevation.
Oh, I get that.
I understand.
I
Okay.
get that. I just don't want somebody to, catch us on a technicality and say, you said they were gonna tear it down, you gave them permission to tear it down. We're stopping we got 20 days to appeal, and they could stop the whole project, so I'd rather let them re-advertise it and let everybody in the neighborhood know that the structure is staying there, it's just going up. The elevator. That's my opinion, that's my first thought on it. Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No, I was just, the concern was originally we knew it was supposed to get raised, and then this says raise the existing dwelling and rebuild, so.
so you got that, you got the notice in your hand?
Yeah,
And what is yours, how is it spelt in your notice?
yeah, R-A-Z-E.
Raise, okay.
And it's, so it's raise.
You're under the impression that there's gonna be a crane and a wrecking ball, and
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Superman is gonna beat it up and all that stuff, and it's gonna be hell in creation, and it could just be a couple guys over there with a little jack going click, 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 click.
right. Huge difference, right?
So, yeah.
So that's a whole different job, it's a whole different
Yeah.
project.
Exactly.
You see, now you're smiling, because they're not tearing it down, you're happy.
Well, we don't know.
But we're gonna probably recommend that they re-advertise it. Do you have anything else you wanna offer?
No, not at this
Okay,
time.
thank you. Who else was raising their hand? Come on up, sir.
Didn't change anything.
Jim Morrissey, Maple Street. Just want to make sure that the board is aware that the property, there's an easement where the storm drain drains out into Onset Bay. And at this point, I've been working with the town municipal department. It's blocked. So whatever, if they raise it, and they bring in that construction, I'm sure they're going to have to do some excavation there, that they should know that there's a storm drain. And the problem is that all the people on Maple Street and Gray Street, their storm basins do not drain because it's basically clogged. And it's stopped off right at that the easement going through that property.
So it's a municipal drain,
Yeah, it's a storm drain.
but you feel it's on the subject property?
Yes, it's an easement through that property, and it exits out into the bay, yeah.
But it's,
Right between Onset Bay Marina and their property, yeah.
but it's the town's problem as far as the flow?
Correct. They've been down there and they've tried to, blow out, and they've been successful to blow out most of the lines, but that particular line is blocked, and they said they're going to have to go back in there, talk to conservation, should dig it up and actually put a new line in. So that's another concern that you should have with this, rebuild or whatever.
Okay. What about the project? Do you have any comments on the house?
No.
None? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? Did you want to come back up? I know you look like you're really itchy over there.
Well, I started to talk, and then I couldn't talk back there, so I'll talk back up here. You brought up the little flagman signs. Those don't work. I literally have 3 on the street, and they look at it like it's a NASCAR go faster sign. And that's why I mentioned temporary speed bumps that can come up in the winter, other than just a sign there that says, hey, slow down, because they don't look at it. And
No, I know. I went down Maple Street myself, and I had to jack up my brakes to miss that 150 that's parked in the street that's supposed to be parked on private property, and I almost took out his trailer that he parks on the street that's supposed to be on
Well,
private property.
I mean,
But I didn't go in the water. I was able to stop.
delivery trucks, fire trucks, EMS, they all have an issue turning around at the end of the street due to parking or whatever it is. And there's going to be large trucks, dump trucks, lumber being delivered regardless of what they're doing to the house. So that is also going to cause another issue. It's going to be a funnel of who and how are they going to turn around. And then we see that with the marina, because they'd come down with these huge boats on trailers, and then they'd back up because they're angry that they went down the wrong street. But then they're
Yeah,
turning
there's-
and burning back up the
The
street.
sign out on Onset Avenue sends you down Maple, and then...
They don't, it might as well
there's
not
no-
be, it
yeah.
might as well not be there. But I just wanted to bring up, those signs unfortunately don't work. I've put my own money into it. I've put out road cones. Other than sitting outside with a stop sign, I feel like I've done everything. So that's why I brought up the speed bump issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody online? Any comments? Okay.
One comment, Jed Hannon again, Atlantic Coast Engineering.
Say it again, sir.
One comment slash question. So, on on Tuesday, July 30th, before the abutter notices we went out, I emailed Sonia from the town. I said, I noticed in the abutter notice form that you wrote raise, R-A-Z-E, when in fact this is a R-A-I-S-E. Should you change this so that it's accurate? And the decision was made to send it as is. So we did make every effort to properly describe it. In our cover letter, it also is spelled as R-A-I-S-E. So I just want to clarify that for the record. But whatever the board decides in terms of whether to approve this as is or continue so that this issue is resolved, we respect the opinion, but I just wanted to state that for the record.
You wanted to throw Sonia under the bus. We hadn't done enough of it tonight.
We never had that conversation.
So,
It's fine.
would you be so kind as to...
So I have it on email. I can forward it to you.
Yeah, send that email along with the original dates and all that stuff on it. That'll be great. But I still think I'm going to, I think that it's appropriate to re-notify the abutters as to what's really going on there. I think you've got a bunch of people in the neighborhood that think that there's going to be a house torn down, and there's not. It's just going to be jacked up. So that's a completely different project. To me, it is anyway, you know. So, that said, unless the remainder members of the board want to outvote me, I'd prefer to continue. And
Is there any way that we can just, we've have clarification now, can we make a statement saying that, other than having, I'm just throwing it out there, I mean.
I know.
Is it gonna make a difference to,
Well, somebody might say, if I had...
Oh, no,
known
I
they were gonna
understand.
lift the building instead of tear it down, I would have been there to object because
Well,
of some, I can't imagine, but I'm not trying to...
Oh, Mr. Chair, it was misadvertised. I think it would be inappropriate to make a decision tonight without
that's
it being
my point.
appropriately advertised.
That's my point.
and I'd like to see plans.
Pardon me?
And I'd like to see plans other than just the site plan.
You want to see more?
I want to see more. I want to know what's happening with the decks and why,
Can you hear that, sir? I'm looking at the screen, but I'm looking at the engineer, asking the engineer. Could you hear Ms. Debonaise's question or comment?
I did, yeah. I mean, I could walk through the plans in detail with her. At this point, we're just at the permit phase, not the building permit issuance. I'm not sure if the owner has an architect on board, but I'd be happy to walk through the plans in more detail if in fact this is going to get continued, or I could walk through them now.
well, I can't read.
Did you get a set of
It's so
plans?
small, I can't read what the setbacks are, and I'm seeing where the deck is, and I have the sizes of the deck, but I want to see it larger
You
so
wanna-
I can
you wanna see it.
understand why it's the size that it is and doing what it's doing. And without plans, I can't do that.
Okay. So I think what she's asking is for you to get us a big set of plans that we can, that she's having a hard time reading the 8.5 by 11. So could you get us at least one copy? And,
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
from what I understand, there was substantial work done on the house. There were no drawings to,
Well, that's
on
all
what
been
was done
stopped. That's
and
why
all
we're
that.
here. That's,
but they must have presented plans.
they're going to present plans, I assume. They want,
they went above and beyond what they submitted.
say it again?
I said, I believe they went above and beyond what they submitted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't, it was a remodel, so they didn't really submit plans. There was an existing house, but the amount of work,
Yeah, it's still a remodel because they're only lifting it. They're not tearing it down and building a new one.
correct. I have a comment, though.
Go ahead.
I think the board should make a condition and ask the applicant to submit how he is going to construct, raise that building, put piers under it, place concrete, pump trucks, workers' trucks, some sort of scope of work or a logistics plan, where he's going to stage, et cetera, because all I know, I can already see what's going to happen is it'll be
The pump
7
truck-
o'clock every day, Maple Ave, and I'm not going to deal with it. So I think it should be a condition, I will deal with it, but it should be a condition, or it could be a condition of the board for the applicant in the next 2 weeks, for the next meeting, to submit a logistics, how he would plan to do this. I've been in construction a long time. I would never take on that job. I don't know where you would even
Yeah, the pump
park
truck's
my
gotta
own.
come down, and
Yeah,
then
that's it.
And they're very close to the neighbor, how are they gonna do their 3 feet?
Well, working next to the neighbor, the only thing that's going to be there is going to be insurance.
Right.
So there's no way to protect them except by insurance and
But they're
just
gonna
a
be on the
safe
neighbor's
site.
property, most likely, is what
No.
I'm saying.
Nope, they're going to be in the right-of-way, the
Which would
layout.
require logistics.
Yeah, so like, say when the concrete farm company comes here, they're going to come in multiple trucks. There's only room for a pickup truck there. So they're going to have to come in and drop off the panels, the forms, the steel. I really don't know the logistics.
Load, and then he's gonna have to get,
I've worked in some tight spots, tight lots, and I can't imagine. Plus, the house is going to be in their way. Have to jack the house up and get the piers under it and lower the house back. I don't know. So I'd be very interested to see a report if you could ask.
I'm sure that there's an engineering solution to every problem, but.
I get it.
But I don't know the answer, so I understand your
I don't.
recommendation. The board hear it?
I agree.
The board hears it, so when we do finally make a decision, if it's gonna be in the positive, we may wanna consider the commissioner's suggestion.
If you could make the applicant submit that so I could review it before the next meeting.
So there'll be on-site parking, very little. They need to come up with some kind of an idea where they're gonna be putting all the other people while it's going on.
I've been to that site multiple times.
Oh,
If the owner is there and the wife or girlfriend's car is there and my car and George's car, the parking is taken.
You fill the street?
We filled.
It's filled.
In front of his home.
So they might have to make some kind of a, I'm hoping that the engineer is listening to all this. Okay, I see the nod online. So they may need to arrange for some off-site parking and.
They need someplace to
golf cart or a
stage.
ferry vehicle.
Exactly.
or
Yep.
A valet. Look at that. Contractor's valet. Somebody, who's putting that up? I did. Okay. So you don't have a little,
It's right where the blue diamond is, Jim.
Blue arrow is your subject.
It's right next to the,
the blue arrow?
right next to the marina.
Oh, okay, I see it now, yeah. Okay. Hey, look, the pickup truck with the trailer parked in the street, it's still there. And all the streets over there, everybody parks their car in the street and complains that the street's crowded. Okay, I get it, it's onset. It's onset, it's been going on for it's been going on for 75 years that I know of. Probably longer. Okay, so, Mr. Engineer, if you're listening, we're requesting that some type of a logistics plan be submitted for our consideration in helping deliberate on our decision. We're also gonna require that this be re-advertised. I don't know if the $18 or $20 worth of postage stamps is gonna break the bank on your client's project, if they're gonna argue that the town should pay it, because, hang on a minute. Go ahead, Sonia.
So I did find his email. He in fact did email me questioning me about the raise. We had quite a bit of back and forth because he did submit that incomplete application that I was talking about. It looks like Ken responded to his email. I never saw him questioning me on that, so we will have to eat the costs. It's $150 to re-advertise, so essentially we have opened tonight's public hearing. We'll just have to when we do re-advertise, we'll have to continue,
So we're gonna-
at the bottom of the notice, we just notify the abutters again of the continued public hearing with the correct raise, essentially. That's what we typically do
So
anyway.
tonight, we're gonna have to continue, and we're gonna have to
30
continue
days.
30 days
Because we need 21 days for advertising.
plus 21. 30 plus 21 or 21?
Well, if you want to, we need 21 days for advertising and notifying the butters. We have to let them know with the correct, what it is that we're doing. I mean, if everybody needs to be notified.
I thought you were a
obviously not everyone's
pescatarian. You
here.
said you wanted to eat the postage.
We have to, because it was our era.
Okay.
It's $150 for advertising plus certified mail to all of the abutters. Could be, I don't know what the applicant paid.
I don't.
It could be anywhere from 20 to 100.
Okay. So that's all going to have to happen. We're
But
gonna have to-
typically, in a case like this, due to a typo, we typically, re-advertise if we don't, have the correct address or the correct articles or the correct map and lots. It's a typo.
It seems like a typo, and it seems minor, but
There were some changes because of incomplete application. We had to have, a new, the initial denial letter that the applicant submitted was a year and a half old. I did request that he get an updated letter, so there could have been a change there. I don't know, I don't have the file in front of me. Everything was posted on the website. I can't, he did in fact email me questioning the typo. It could have been a typo. It very well appears to be.
could be.
I write notices of public hearing every single day, 4 days a week. So we will have to take
No
responsibility
problem.
on this.
So is 30 days going to be enough? Do we need to
We
go?
need 21 days for advertising to notify and plus notifying the abutters, that it's.
We better go out 45, huh?
Raise, R-A-I-S-E, and
Before we
not
even come back.
R-A-Z-E. No, well, they have to be notified. I don't think all the abutters are here tonight.
No, I
May
don't.
very well be, but. Huh? Okay.
Somebody heard. We haven't closed the public portion. If you want to be recognized again, come ahead.
Yes, hi, I'm Carolyn Morrissey. I just want to make sure that our concerns, that this evening's discussions and us being here, this is going to be on record if we're not able to kind of come through the
You've been
whole.
heard tonight. You don't need, you're
evening.
welcome to come back and
No, I
and
understand,
repeat.
but, yeah,
But what you had to say has been heard.
yeah, because I'm going to feel as strongly about it, but whether or not I can come, I just want to make sure that our evening here is going to be of
You've been
note.
heard.
Thanks.
Get somebody online.
We got a hand up. Who's got their hand up?
Hello?
Harrison.
Yes, I don't know if you can see me. I have my
See you,
camera
but
on.
I can see your name, Harrison.
Yeah, so I just, first of all, I'd like to say hi to all my neighbors there. I want to kind of just reiterate that maybe in the future we could come together and talk about these things directly. I think that would, and I think it's certainly on Evelyn and I to maybe make a better attempt at that. I appreciate everyone's comments tonight. I would say first and foremost on some of the traffic things, those are well heard. For any of this work, it'll obviously be cumbersome, just like the marina was. And so I really do plan to take a lot of precautions with that, and I apologize for the previous issues. I've talked to a lot of the people, I know the Morrisons directly, about this issue, and I apologize about that. On this particular issue of raising the home and with my direct neighbors, I do just want to clarify that, we apologize for the issues that we created with the permit in the first place, and what we're attempting to do now is to correct that. We're not taking this on as like an addition to the home. We would prefer not to do this. If there's a way that we could have the commission reconsider or come up with an alternative plan, we're more than happy to do that. But I think as Mr. Turner mentioned, this is the corrective action that's required. So that's all we're trying to do. As far as any of the timelines, it's taken obviously an immense amount of time, and I think Mr. Hannon has done a fantastic job because we need to come up with something that's really safe and logistically feasible in such a tight space. We are going to need to use most of that front courtyard space for all of our staging area. Mr. Turner, I'm happy to get you a general scope of work. I met again with potential contractors on site, which of course this will be a very complex project, but not unlike any of the homes that are raised all along the Cape and South Shore all the time. And as you mentioned, Mr. Commissioner, that at the end of the day, we're just jacking the home up. That's all that we're doing. And I do think my direct neighbors are aware of that because they mentioned the specific 11 and a half feet requirement, which is dictated on our plans just to raise the home. I told this to Inspector Turner. I apologize about our missteps previously. I can only take accountability for those now. And I told him, and I think we have since that point tried to do everything to the letter correctly moving forward. And this is the first step. I'm more than happy to send an informal scope of work and a logistical plan, but I do need this is a zoning step in order to get the firm proposals. I don't think the work is going to take place for several months after this, just from a logistics standpoint, as quick as we can possibly go. And I would be more than happy to hold a community meeting with my neighbors, talk to them about logistics, of course, provide all relevant certificate of insurance for all the licensed and insured contractors. And we're just trying to go step by step. So I just am concerned by, and really quick, whatever snafu there was on the notice, I'm happy to pay for the additional notices sent out. I understand mistakes happen. That is not a consequential thing. We can work that out. I just mean, I like at the next meeting that be able to have a productive conversation, because just reframing the idea that this is not like an elective thing that we're doing it as an addition. This is what my neighbors are asking for, which is the corrective measures based on the mistakes we made previously. So I apologize again about those. I can't say that enough. I'm looking forward to correcting those finally, and hopefully at some point we can be an accepted member of the community, which is our ultimate goal. But we're open. All these neighbors have my direct cell phone number, as well as my wife Evelyn, and we're looking forward to maybe correcting the house and some of these relationships as well.
Who are you?
My wife and I are the owners of the home. I think they referenced me a few times when they were talking about it. Evelyn Kim is my wife, and I'm attending the meeting on her behalf right now. She's at work.
So is your name Hannon or Harrison? What's your name?
Jed Hannon is the engineer who submitted the permitting for this, and my name is Harrison Levitsky, and I just wanted to speak more of a public comment in response to some of the cumbersome aspects of the work done so far. Okay. And the procedural aspects, because I will be trying to help work through the actual raising of the home. And I am happy to talk about any of the logistics of that right now. I have a rough idea of how that's going to work, but we're working through that process to make sure that it's done properly and safely.
I think I'd rather see a written plan, sir.
Understood.
Submitted. You're going to have. I'm going to recommend 45 days time between now and when you come back for the next meeting. We're going to continue tonight. We're not going to make a decision tonight. We've heard from some of the neighbors. We're going to re-advertise the property. We're going to re-advertise it that you're lifting the building, not tearing it down. That is quite a bit of difference in what would happen and what will happen. As far as the logistic plan and the conversations that you want to have, you said you'd like to come to the meeting and have a private conversation. These meetings are open, sir. They're public meetings. They're not private.
I apologize. I meant that I just was open for, if my neighbors do have any concerns, I hope they feel comfortable reaching out to me, but I completely understand the public nature of this meeting, and I'm happy that we can talk about this to maybe ease some concerns about the process that we're taking and the steps that we're taking to do this correctly. I didn't mean to insinuate otherwise. I apologize.
That's all right. You can apologize for speaking over me at the same time, because I didn't speak over you, but you certainly interrupted and spoke over me. And I help. Those are the kind of things that influence my decision-making. So, again, we'd like this re-advertised. We'd like a plan in writing on how you're going to handle this logistically. We'd like to know how the workers are going to get to and from the job, where they're going to park their vehicles, where the cement truck is going to park, how it's going to get down the street, how the pump truck is going to... We want to know... We want to know so much you're going to feel like you're building a skyscraper on Fifth Avenue in New York. We want the details, mister. Thank you.
Understood.
So do we make the list out, or is there some kind of a list?
They're going to submit a plan.
Because I have in there, we want parking, off-site, staging materials, equipment, speed signs, children signs, and hours of operation. Do we have anything else that needs to go on there?
So they're gonna, when they submit their plan, we can edit it.
Okay,
If they submit a good plan, we won't need to say anything. If they submit a lousy plan, we'll fix it.
thank you.
That's the way I see it. Does anybody see it a different approach or a better approach?
I just wanted to make sure that we had the right things on that
Yeah.
logistic plan, that's
Okay.
all.
I see somebody with their hand up. Come forward, state your name.
Hello, I'm Richard Snyder, Lieutenant Snyder from the Elms Fire Department. I think what you're really referring to is a 241 plan, which has all of the accesses and everything like that all set out. So if they follow the guide of a 241 plan, I believe that will provide them
What's a
with
241 plan?
It's a plan, building department is very aware of it. It's a plan that states how everything is going to go. Basically, it gives, for us, fire access, what we're gonna have for fire access, building access, staging locations, water access. It gives all of that information. So I believe that's really what you're looking for.
That sounds like what we're looking for.
A 241 plan, huh?
You can look it up. It's 241, what is it in the building code?
I'd have to look.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be a 241 plan.
Cool, thank you very much for the information.
Thanks for the input. Okay. Anybody else that wants to make comment? Oh, I see a hand up over there again. Is your hand up because you didn't put it down, or is it still up because you want to talk? Oh, Mr. Harrison's gotten quiet. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Oh, it's Harrison, whatever. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've covered enough information that the engineer and the applicant know what they need to go back and do. We need a date to come back here. I want 45 days. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and we've got advertising. If you want to bring them back in 30 days, we can. But I don't think 30 is going to be adequate between,
30 for me is enough. We can bring them back on September 11th. If you need 45, if they need
if they need
45
more
for
time, they can
plans,
ask for, then we'll give them 30. We'll get them back quicker.
So that'd be the 25th?
either the 11th or the 25th.
So
I'm
it
fine
sounds
with
like
the
the
11th
25th.
for advertising, because I can get it out tomorrow.
So we're talking about 4124, 9 Maple Avenue, and we want to continue to when? September?
So either September 11th or September 25th, if you want if they need the 45 days.
September 11th is less than 30 days, right?
But for advertising, that's enough for me, because if I get the new notice out tomorrow,
It's 28 days.
I'll make the 21 days.
28 days to the 11th, 42 to the 25th.
I'll ask the engineer, he's the one that's gonna have to do all the work here. I see him still online. What do you want? You want to come back on, what are the two dates?
The 11th or the 25th?
The 11th or the 25th?
I think the 11th should be fine. We'll have a logistics plan put together, and it gives us enough time, I believe. If we need to continue, we can request that, but we'll try to get everything done in the next 2 weeks and back to the board.
That sounds like a plan. Thank you,
Okay, thank
sir.
you.
Okay, so who wants to make a motion to continue until 9/11/24?
I'll make a motion.
Veronica makes the motion to continue this matter until 9/11/24, and Mr. Conti seconds it.
Sure, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Latz, Ms. Debonese?
Aye.
Mr. Conti?
Aye.
Mr. Semple?
Aye.
Myself, aye. We're continued. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Okay, and now, any other business? There's nothing here, there's nothing here, there's nothing adjournment. All we need
I
is a
thought we
motion.
had to do a lot of discussing after that first agenda was put out, but I'm glad we didn't.
No, I looked at that first agenda, I'm like, what?
And then, I don't know if anybody wants to talk about it. I sent out an email, you probably all got it, about this new law that,
You didn't like that, sir?
I have something that I want to ask. Josh, at the planning board, they were...
excuse me for a minute, Mr. Conti. It's an interesting conversation you have, but we can't hear each other. But I could hear you. If you want to talk, there's a door there, you can go on the other side of it and close it. Appreciate it, thank you. Go
So
ahead.
at the planning board the other night, you were talking about moving everything over to Viewpoint and not having like our projects anymore. Is that something that this board is going to do also?
If you would like to, you can. We're kind of rolling it in phases,
Okay.
so, yeah.
And there was also we had like a workshop with Mr. Bowen. I think we were all invited. Everybody was invited. I
That
went.
was the one on how to write a decision?
Yeah, I went to it, and Nazir was there too, also. And he did talk about asking people to swear him in that are of reputable, I guess, people representing the case.
That was on the first, I think.
It was on the first, right? And they're
Did I
gonna
hear
have
that-
an.
Did I hear that it got taped? Can we relook?
They did get taped, yeah.
So can we-
I was unavoidably unavailable.
So we need to know where this tape is and let us look at it, if we can, possibly, wherever the tape is.
And there's gonna be another meeting, I guess a follow-up on that sometime probably in September.
Josh, could you find out for us and let us know probably by email to, you know, the question is, can we review it and can we,
Got it.
is it a link online? Is it just, can we just click on it, do it from the privacy of our own home, or do we need to come here and do it under supervision of?
So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All second, third.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Hallelujah.
Aye.
Aye.
I think I hear 5 ayes. The ayes are above the nose. The ayes have it. The ayes are above the nose.